Gosh, we are live. We are live. And we're having such a good discussion back here, everybody. If you're free on Tuesday, I don't even know if we're doing a live stream on Tuesday for the election shit. I don't know if we're doing that. We might do a Zoom room. Well, we'll probably do a Zoom room, but whether we do a live stream about it or not, I don't know. Haven't decided yet. See how I feel on Tuesday. But anyway, yes, everybody, and welcome to High on Homegrown, the cannabis podcast from percysgrowroom.com. I am Macky from the UK, and joining us this week, we have Margaret.
Hello, everyone. This is Margaret coming at you from Central Ontario, Canada. It's a beautiful day, but it's going to be dark really soon. And with it comes seasonal affective disorder.
Was that you like checking where you were for a second there?
That's what I thought. It's
like coming from
I had to look out the window and be like, where am I again?
Yes, and of course we also have Billy. What's up, Billy?
Yo, all good here in Cornwall at the minute. Like you said, it's all dark and dark and dark here now. So
yeah.
Welcome to the proper dark weather.
Daylight savings everywhere, and it's all dark at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, and you said the seasonal adjustment disorder there, Margaret. It's bad, isn't it?
Seasonal affective. If anyone has ever felt sad and depressed in the wintertime, it's probably seasonal affective disorder or sad.
Well, I think that's what it used to be, but now, especially here in the UK, everybody's sad because they have to put the heating on, and it's going to cost a fucking fortune.
Yeah.
Sad that they can't put the heating on because it's going to cost a fortune.
Oh, man. But let's not get into that. Let's talk about some cannabis stuff. Of course, we have some cannabis news and events, as we always do, and we're going to be talking about edibles in the grow guides later on as well. And, of course, we have an edibles expert on the panel.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, and Margaret's going to give us all the information we need so you guys can learn how to make some edibles and stuff. Let's take a quick closer look at some of those news articles that we're covering. A quick run through the oh, and I got a new mouse, everybody, so it doesn't double click, but I still have PTSD. Like I'm still clicking things really gently to make sure it doesn't like double click. Oh man, it's going to take a while for that to wear away, I think. But anyway, for the news articles, we have some crazy shit going on. You know, it's been Halloween over the last week, and we have police launch investigation after boy 7 given cannabis edibles while trick or treating. Not cool, man. Not cool.
No.
What an absolute dick. We also have a news article, and this was from Emma Appleby. She was on the show a couple of months ago, a few months ago, and she has a daughter who suffers with intractable epilepsy, and she has to buy cannabis medicine for her daughter. And we got a story about that. It says Kent mum spends 24k in Great British pounds a year. 24k a year. People don't get paid that. You know what I mean? It's like that's somebody's whole year's wages if they're on a decent job nowadays. 24k, and she's had to spend all of that on cannabis oil for her daughter's medicine when we have socialized healthcare in the UK. Let's not get too ranty before we even begin, eh? Let's wait. We have study. Those with a history of cannabis use are less likely to use opioids following lower back surgery. Precise, specific. Let's see what them guys are talking about. And then we have some bullshit, some Edinburgh. That's Scotland, isn't it? Edinburgh. I think so. Cannabis dealer took over vulnerable man's Lathe flat and turned it into drug den. Oh shit! I pressed the wrong button. Sorry. Yeah,
that's his professional mouse going on.
But it's the new mouse. Did you hear it? Did you hear the click on the side? Because I went to mute. And on mute, there we go. No, it was. I pressed the wrong one because it's got more buttons than the last. But this mouse is really nice. It's so smooth. It's black and yellow. Looks like a JCB. It's wireless. I switch it on and off. It turns itself off when I don't use it after a few minutes and shit. Very nice. Very nice. I like this.
You can almost hear the fire rubbing in the voice, can't you? There.
You know what I'm saying?
The way you're speaking about that.
You
mouse,
can tell when
mate.
you're getting old when you just start, enjoying the finer details of a mouse. Like you know, like, oh, this mouse is really nice.
Oh God, I downloaded a bird app recently, so I'm there.
Oh, the bird watching.
Yeah, someone recommended a bird watching app. I was like, ooh. So, yeah.
At least it's not trained.
Getting an anorak next.
That's right.
What?
You're getting an anorak and going out on the train platforms, watching some trains.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I've stopped at the birds.
And no offense to anybody who does watch Strange, it's to their own, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but that guy in Edinburgh having his flat taken over, I think that's called cuckoo, and we covered that in an article a few weeks ago as well. So this is a case of that. We also have some good news coming from Australia. Victoria to end automatic license loss for drivers testing positive for medical cannabis. So that's some good news from Australia. Yes, lots of news articles to cover. And of course, we have some forum news to talk about as well. We're going to avoid any talk about the election until Tuesday. So if you are into that kind of thing, if you want to come and discuss the election with us on Tuesday, then visit percysgrowroom.com or the Discord server for more information on the day. We'll let you know what's going on then. But yeah, that's about it. What are we smoking on, Margaret? Well, you got something nice today? You got drink, smoking, edibles? What is it?
Got a little bit of well, no, I don't have a drink. I do
All
have
of
a
the
little bit
above.
of I do have some edibles, and I've got some rotten fruit brahmi in my vaporizer, and I harvested my weed today. I
Oh
jarred
no!
it.
Well, yeah. How was it?
Good. I mean, I haven't smoked it yet, but it's
So,
looking all decent.
so you say you jarred it, so it's dry now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna
Nice.
do a little curing, and then we'll see.
Oh, cool. How would you think about it initially? Is it smelling nice?
Yeah, it does smell nice, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'll find out next week how it's getting on. When do
Yeah.
you intend to try it? Another few days or something?
Probably later in the week, I would imagine. Just give it a few days to cure, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know, how long do you guys usually give your weed to cure?
Well, once it's
Only-
dry, it's good. It just cures for as long as it's there. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to finish it off a little bit.
Yeah, a week or two cure and it's always good. But if you don't have
Yeah.
any cannabis, then feel free to partake. As soon as it's dry,
Oh, I
it
don't have
can.
that problem. So
Right, yeah. So it's all good. Just let it do its thing. The longer you leave it,
yeah.
within reason, of course, the better it will be. So if you can give it a couple of weeks, that'd be just about right. Well, you got Billy. What are you
I'm
smoking on?
well, I'm averaging about 4 weeks now. That my cannabis is like a 4 week cure.
Nice.
So it'd be like a week or so, 10 days hanging up, and then about the same 10 days in a brown bag, then 10 days in a jar, and then
All right.
over the next 10 days, I decide whether I'm going to smoke it or not.
Okay.
So, yeah. But today, I've decided on what I'm going to smoke today. I've got some bongo bubble gum because it's got
You
lots
still
of
got
it.
some of
and it's
that?
quite,
Damn.
yeah, I had loads of it. It was a massive plant it's quite good yield, actually. Also, go this week, I'm trying some Killer Skunk crossed with Cherry Palms by Chilbert himself. So
Oh, nice.
it's a bit
Very nice.
bit cherry aid in a way.
Sweet, man.
It's hard, yeah. So yeah,
No,
hard to
I
describe
like
the
those
taste.
fruity weeds. They are my
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah, and it is quite nice, this one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the future versions of it, if you know what I mean. This version's actually quite nice pheno,
Yeah.
and it's a good strong one as well, if you know what I mean. I'd say about 22-24%
Sweet.
THC. So yeah,
In
quite a good
depth
med.
description. In depth. I like it.
Well, it's not very often I'm able to actually know and discuss the weeds, but I've been able to do a bit more discussion with that one, I suppose, with myself.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is everything cool? No music playing there
Oh
in the
yeah,
background and shit?
I've got some hash as well, obviously, because I make
Obviously,
hash
it
every
goes without
Sunday.
saying, right? Goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
But-
smoking. Well, I'm not smoking on. I got some shit in my vape. It's I don't know. It's the same old shit weed. Well, not like it's shit weed, but same old shit because it's the same old shit. But yeah, just enjoying it in small amounts. I've been vaping a little bit there. I might hit that joint in a bit, just sitting over there. Like last week's joint lasted me about 4 days. Last week when I was on the show and I was like, I got a joint there, I might smoke some. That lasted me like 4 days, man. Oh, what the fuck? I'm just not smoking very much. But Sober October's also over, so I have myself a beer. Yay.
Ooh.
Yay.
Boo.
But, just don't have the same love for it as I did in
Yeah, I feel the
September.
same way.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I took a break, man. It's like, I don't know, just going to enjoy this beer. Probably won't have any tomorrow. Think we're going to need some on Tuesday. And then after then.
Why? What's happening Tuesday?
Oh, just, it's getting darker earlier. That's all.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Oh, damn.
It's
Yeah.
fireworks day. That's where it is.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that shit as well. Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had.
somebody get rid of that tool in the chat, look.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go in a plant away. Oh, I thought he was trying to sell stuff. Don't you be trying to sell stuff in the chat, bro? Fucking hell. Get shut down. Anyway. Look, right in the capital letters. Anyway, so I can't see the chat because I've got this poll-up. We're running long here on the intro. But we've got this poll-up here. If your cannabis plant could talk, what would it say? Water me, please. I need more light. Where's my CalMag? Or don't touch me. Which one is it? Yes, I'll put that up in the thing there, so I can't see the chat right now. I should open up another screen so I should see the chat. There we go.
42 votes as well, he's saying. Oh, 43.
Nice,
There you go.
nice. If there's any reason to smoke, it's that. Do it. But I think that's everything. Anyway, we're good to go onto the news already. I say already, but we're running a little bit long. But I don't think it's been long either.
10
No,
past
I-
9, that's all it is, mate.
Yeah. Let's chat shit for another half hour. No, but we should really move on to the news. Are we all ready?
Yeah.
Right,
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh shit, music started somewhere. Where did that happen? I was going to put the... Oh gosh. So unprofessional.
Professionalism.
You know, and we
101.
hit 6K subscribers as well this week, everybody, over on our YouTube channel. So thanks to all of you guys who are subscribed. Very cool.
Yay.
Yeah, so news. I had this in some kind of order that we're going to cover. So we'll try and stick to that order. Yeah, we'll start off with the one about Emma Appleby and the problem she's having with her daughter Tegan. This is from the BBC News, so you know how it goes by now. Everybody grab that salt, add a couple of pinches. Mom spends 24k a year on daughter's cannabis oil. Absolutely fucking shocking, man. How can it be that much?
Yeah, that's insane. That's so much money.
And the fact that it's not provided on the NHS as well. And this is another point. It's just past 6 years since cannabis was legalized for medical use in the UK. And we have only got, it's maybe 5 people who have been treated with cannabis medicine on the NHS. Everybody else has had to pay for it. And there's a good 20, 30,000 people who are using cannabis for medicine. Absolutely shocking. The government has just let everybody down with this whole cannabis medicine thing. Hopefully things will change in the future, but we just had a budget and there was no mention of it there, so we're going to still be stuck in this situation by the look of things, unfortunately. But I'll read some of this story out. We have a mother from Aylesham, Kent, who says she pays £2,000 a month for her daughter's medical cannabis supply, has called for greater access to the drug on the NHS. Why did they call it the drug there? Why couldn't they call it the medicine? You know what I
Because
mean?
they're all junkies, isn't they? Who
Yeah,
use
right.
cannabis.
Yeah, all them degenerates.
Degenerate junkies.
Emma Appleby said her daughter Tegan, 15, uses cannabis to manage the daily seizures she suffers due to severe epilepsy. Medical cannabis became legal in the UK 6 years ago, but Miss Appleby said it is still impossible to get it from the health service. And, impossible is a strong word because there is people who do get cannabis from the NHS now. It's just very, very, very difficult to do it. And it seems to be, Billy, would you know about this? The people who have got it on the NHS are people who suffer with intractable epilepsy, right? Like the 3 people, is it 3 or 5? It's a very small number.
Yeah, basically, I think it's 5 in total. But yeah, It depends on the condition. And it's mostly down to the doctor, really, if you get what I mean. Not
Right.
many people want to prescribe it, which is the issue,
Mm-hmm.
rather than anything. It's the doctor's being too scared.
Yeah. Guess what
Obviously,
that noise
the
was?
costs as well.
Gosh.
The dog, I reckon. Because
Dog
it's
already trying to
tradition now.
sneak in already. Gosh, 9:15. Oh, you're going to sneak in at the break time? Oh, gosh. See, it's going to be one of them shows, I think.
It's the clocks. It's the clocks coming back. You see, that's what done it.
She knows exactly what she's doing. She's out of control. Yeah, man.
Sounds out of control.
Yeah, just kicking the door open like that. Gosh. Yeah, so not many people do have it on the NHS. It's just an absolute farce, man, that this is still going on. And it's for kids as well. When kids need medical cannabis for their epilepsy treatment, then it should be covered by the NHS. What the fuck is going on? But it isn't. They have to pay this ridiculous amount of money for it. And you can hear more interviews from medical cannabis moms in the UK on the show We've had all of them, well, not all of them, but all of those who are out there with some kind of media presence. We've had a lot of them on the show. Emma Appleby, this lady, is one of them. So go and check that out if you haven't heard the interview with her. We've had Anna Deacon on. We've had Billy's missus as well. Caroline, she's been on the show. Joanne Griffiths, loads of people. So go check those interviews out because they're very interesting. Medical cannabis became legal in the UK 6 years ago. Yeah, it's still impossible. We read that out there. The NHS said it does prescribe some licensed cannabis-based products for certain conditions, but it said many products cannot be prescribed because the manufacturers have not engaged with the UK medicines regulatory process. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. So why have some people got it? You know, it's like that doesn't make any sense. You're trying to say they didn't jump through all the hoops, but you've given it to some people, so surely it should be available to this lady as well. You know what I mean? 24 grand a year is an absolutely ridiculous amount of money to pay for medicines. Miss Appleby told the BBC, sorry Billy.
No, I say what it is she's on a particular medicine that's coming from Holland, if you know what I mean.
Right, so it's not like Epidiolex or something.
No, so obviously because she won't change medicines, then
because she can't, because if she changes it, it might not have the same effect as it
same
does.
effect. Is it? So it's a gamble. So to not take that gamble, she's got to take the decision of paying the money or doing that. Crazy.
Wow. Just a quick shout out to Laszlo in the chat there. Thanks for that, Laszlo. He's dropped some info. By the end of 2024, 62,960 patients are forecasted to be using medical cannabis in the UK, generating 240 million euros. That's 205 million pounds in sales. Madness. And that's why they don't want to legalize it, because that's $250 million. That is. It's a lot of money. We'll carry on here. Miss Appleby told the BBC that cannabis oil has changed her daughter's life, but she cannot get a prescription on the NHS. She said it is absolutely gutting that it has been 6 years and we are still in this position. Man, it must be so fucking enraging. Gosh. She said she pays for the medicine through private healthcare and added, I had to work so hard to keep raising the money for the cannabis oil. And you'll see them do fundraisers and stuff. Rachel Rankmore often does fundraisers for her son, Bailey's. Bailey's name is, I think it's Bailey, isn't it? Bailey Rankmore. And they have a charity called Bailey Shakes. And they often do giveaways just to try and raise money for the kids' medicine. In the UK in 2024. Man, I found myself getting all fucking ranty then. And it's like, don't do it, man. Don't, because it's disgusting, man. It's fucking disgusting. The shit this fucking country spends our money on, because it's our money. Our government not steal. The government take our taxes, right, fairly. More than 40% of what we earn gets taken by these motherfuckers, and they're happy to spend it on missiles to go drop on kids in another fucking country, but they won't give the medicine to the kids who need it in this fucking country. It fucking enrages me so much.
What pisses me off is that we give our money to places like India who have a space program to run medical fucking things, but we aren't giving our own
afford
kids
fucking 25 grand to make sure this child can have medicine she needs for her life-saving medicine. It's so fucking disgusting, man. There's no justice in this shit.
Exactly. Do you know how many Indian billionaires there are, in which most of them send all their kids to fucking Great Ormond Street to have fucking proper surgery there? That's who funds Great Ormond Street. All the fucking billionaire Indians sending their fucking kids over here. It's like, because they know we've got the technology and the money. So if you've got the money, you can fucking buy it. If you ain't got no money in this country, you ain't fucking getting it. It's just so we are selling NHS to everyone who's got the money. It's just a private industry now. It's all been sold. Yes,
and these poor kids have to suffer.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like how many billionaires in foreign countries should be then donating money to kids in this country? I think, shouldn't they?
It's getting
where's
that
our
way.
foreign aid?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, where's our foreign aid? We kind of need some shit right now.
Exactly.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. Where's our foreign aid? It's like we don't get any, do we?
Help us out, man. Jesus. We're in a bad place right now. We've had to raise taxes again, the highest it's ever been. The biggest hike we've seen for 30 years. But anyway, let's not go into that discussion. Yeah, so it's she says here that it's it's gutting that it's been 6 years and they still have to pay for this medicine, a ridiculous amount of money. We have in Brighton, 31-year-old Ryan Gillam has been living with sciatica and migraines for more than 10 years. He said he found traditional treatment methods negatively affected his mental health and discovered that medical cannabis significantly improved his condition without the side effects, but comes at a £500 a month cost. That's a crazy amount of money. And, I know some countries, they have to pay for their healthcare and, it's covered by insurance. Like in the USA, they have the insurance providers and shit. But when we have socialized medicine in the UK and we pay national insurance, but we pay a shitload of insurance for it, could you stop writing in caps there in the chat, everybody? Just stop shouting, It's distracting me. But what was I saying there? What was I saying? I got distracted by the chat.
I was just gonna remind you. Now I it slipped my mind.
We've all forgotten. You see, you stop writing
Was you
in the
talking?
caps.
I didn't even know you was talking, mate.
Yeah, sorry,
I was
buddy.
off.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was saying something. It's just a farce, man. It's just a farce that we're still here in 2024 and we have to be, when we have this socialized medicine, that's what I was saying. We have socialized medicine here in the UK. We pay a shitload of money through national insurance to cover the bills. It doesn't cover it, but, it does what it can. So we're not used to paying a stupid amount of money for our medicines. So when somebody's paying £500 a month for medicine, it's shocking. We don't see that here in the UK very often. And even if it's cannabis medicine, it should be on the NHS. Yeah, they're never going to let that happen.
Yeah.
We do have an insurance system. It's called national insurance. It's just not personal. It's a national thing. So it's. But obviously, we know that's not where our money comes from. So it's all stolen other ways.
It's terrible,
like
man.
from the cars.
We also have here. I would like it to be. This is the guy from Brighton talking. He says, I would like it to be available on NHS, or for them to pay for some of it. Yeah, maybe like a tax rebate or something. Maybe that is an option. But still, you want to try and get them all legalized so everybody can get their medicine they need. It also adds here, the NHS does prescribe some licensed cannabis-based products for certain conditions, including severe epilepsy, nausea from chemotherapy, and muscle spasm caused by multiple sclerosis. And it isn't enough, man. They need to provide different kinds of cannabis medicines for people, because in my opinion, I think cannabis should be the first option. Before you go to all these crazy pharmaceutical laboratory-made medicines, you should try the cannabis first, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
This
that's my
last
opinion
sentence you didn't get to, but the very last sentence said that the investigation found that fewer than 5 people had been prescribed medicinal cannabis by NHS England last year.
Yeah, I just saw it bold and underlined. So
What's
I thought,
the point of having a whole program if only 5 people can access it?
It's bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
The system has failed so badly. And this is it. They legalized it in 2018 just to keep us shut up. It was like, just give them something to keep them quiet. Keep the proles quiet over there. Just give them what they... make it seem like we're giving them what they want, so they will shut up for a bit. And that's exactly what's happened. Yeah, and yeah, it hasn't failed. It's working perfectly fine for them. You know what I mean? The government's making a good amount of money from it, and so are their friends. But the actual people who need the medicine are not getting it. They have to pay a stupid amount of money to get it. It's disgusting. Yeah, Pagan said, a friend of mine had just gone medical. He was worried about driving. Yeah, we have a story about cover something like that a little bit later on. It's shocking. It's always a concern, isn't it? And for anybody who drives, and especially if you drive for your living, for part of your job, if you're going to get caught, even with cannabis in your system, you might not have smoked for a couple of weeks, but then you're going to get caught with cannabis in your system and potentially lose your license. It's bad, man. It's bad. Yeah, let's go on to the next news article. This is one from you, Billy, which we've had. What's this? About using opioids. As instead of using opioids, people are using cannabis, right? You know that one.
Yeah. A study basically has been made in Chicago. So it's people with a history of cannabis are less likely to use opioids following lower back surgery. So patients with a history of cannabis use consume fewer opioids following their back surgery. Quite simple as that. match controls as well, according to data published in the Asian Spine Journal. So I assume that's a big magazine published in Asian, well, and probably a lot to do with India and China, I suppose, and being Asia. So, so I was just taking a drink there. So basically, investigators affiliated with the Chicago Medical School and Yale University assessed opioid utilization trends in the cohort of 1,216 patients, which is quite a good subject size, better than like 80 or something, which they normally have.
Mhm.
So all of them have gone, they've all undergone lumbar fusion surgery. So half of the cohort had a history of cannabis consumption and half did not. And
What's lumbar
participants,
fusion? Is that where they've taken a disc out of the back and fused it together or something out of the spinal cord?
I assume so. I don't really go into the
Oh.
expertise of back surgery, so
Yeah, I don't know if they did you say they take something out?
Like you take discs out of the spine, you know, when they get
No.
perforated, sometimes the discs get slipped, they get perforated,
Yeah, I
and
don't
that causes a
know.
lot of problems. So they can take them out and then fuse the spine again, I think. I'm not sure, but still,
strange.
yeah. Sorry, buddy. And it's
But,
opioid, right? He's got to say opioid. No, you say
Yeah,
I don't know what
opioid.
you're
Yeah.
saying. Opiate or something you're saying? I don't know. You're saying something different.
Okay.
But you know how we like
So-
to get words right on this show,
Yes.
Billy. You know.
So basically, they're reporting that the cannabis users, after at least as early as 2 months, are reporting that they're not using as much, like the opioid utilization. They're not using it as much,
Mhm.
basically, and it persisted still at 6 months as well. So it's like even like the ongoing effects, because sometimes you can be in more pain 6 months later than you are directly after the surgery, sort of thing. So the study authors conclude that we found that cannabis users tended to wear off the opioid analgesics earlier than non-cannabis users, and offering support for the cannabis as like being a replacement, basically, and supporting the patients a lot better. So knowledge of cannabis use patterns may be potentially allow physicians to cater to individual needs and provide the appropriate dose over time. This may help reduce the opioid dependence and improve patient outcomes, because obviously you're not going to be then addicted to smack, basically, because that's what you're going to be getting when you can't get your pills off the doctors. So literally they're saying that people are using cannabis more and more and more as a pain relief in all different surgeries. This is in Asian Spine as well, the journal. So the additional information is coming from Normal as well. There were a relationship between cannabis and opioids from Normal.
Right. Yeah,
So-
like Normal, the organization, everybody. Yeah, just
Yes.
don't know those guys.
Mm-hmm.
NORML. So basically, this is about the long-term use of prescription opioids as well. So it's good that people are not being long-term prescribed for like years, basically, potentially.
You know, this is it.
saying so.
You know, because these opioids, man, they're bad for you, especially over long periods of time. Imagine the damage it does to the liver and the kidneys and shit when you're constantly having these strong ass painkillers. So I don't know, a lot of pain. Well, some pain, you know, chronic pain is what they call it, and when somebody has to live with pain for a prolonged period of time, then you don't want to be taking these pills for a long period of time. And surely cannabis is the better option.
Well, generally, people will be taking like opiates like for 2 years, and generally they're saying here that people probably could stop between like only 3 to 6 month use instead. So that's a big difference using like it for 3 to 6 months than to 2 years. So like that's a
This is a long
big
time
effect.
to be taking opioids.
Yeah,
2
exactly. That's what I'm
years.
saying.
Take
Because
them
people
every
become
day.
addicted. That's
Oh,
what it is.
yeah.
After the 6 months, they don't need them no more for the pain, but obviously they do because they're addicted to them now. So that's why it takes them then another 18 months to get off the drug. Which is the problem we're having with that's why it's an epidemic.
Yeah, apparently that's it, and it's especially in the USA when people have the with the insurance system that they have, and obviously I'm not in the USA, so I don't know the finer details, but people will have opioids, and then at some point the doctor will be like, okay, I can't prescribe these for you anymore, But these people still need the either the pain relief or they're addicted to them. So then they go to the street and look for drugs out there. And this is why you're seeing this huge rise in fentanyl addiction, because people are using that instead of the old school
it's
shit they
cheap.
used to use. Yeah, it's cheap, like ridiculously cheap. God damn, man, scary.
Mhm.
That fentanyl seems. I'm glad we don't have it here in the UK, or at least not that I know of, anyway. But goddamn,
Not
it's
such
very
an issue,
scary.
yeah. It is
Mm-mm.
here, but not so bad.
Yeah,
So again, it's just saying that cannabis is replacing other drugs. Again, they're not going to like it, but that's what's happening.
damn.
It's working.
Ballista said they got drugs for the side effects. True story, bro. True story. They don't mind if it fucks up your liver. Take this. That will fix that. You know, god damn. It's sad, man. But it's good to see that more people are using cannabis instead of these opioids. But, you know, as we've already mentioned in the previous story, in the UK, you're going to have to go pay for this shit. So instead of getting it, you could get a month's supply from the doctor for like, I don't even know how much a prescription is now. It's about a tenner when you go get all your medicines. So you could go and get the month's supply rather than for about £10. When this guy here is spending £500 on his cannabis medicine, it's a substantial difference. You know, it's
That's
a
so
joke, man.
much money.
Having to pay you £2,000 a month is the same as as Emma Appleby, who we were speaking about earlier. You know, in the previous article.
Mhm.
It's a stupid amount of money, and when it's your child as well, and when your child needs the medicine, you're getting the
I know.
money,
What
aren't
are you
you?
supposed to
You know,
do? Just be like, nah.
you'll find a way.
Yeah.
You have to find a way. Disgusting, man. The government has seriously let people down on this, and it's just it's sad to see. It's sad to see. I hope it all gets fixed up pretty soon, but I don't know. It seems like they're all frying bigger fish right now. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. What goes on in Canada there, Margaret? Is there the same problem? There's going to be children who have intractable epilepsy in Canada, just like there is in the UK. Do they get cannabis medicines there?
That's a really good question because I got my medical card recently, but it just for me seems like I can go to a website and buy some stuff, and there doesn't seem to be like a really, in my experience, a separate
Hmm.
medical program. I think there is one, but I'm not familiar with it. But there's so much access here that it doesn't seem like it'd be a problem if you need to get cannabis for whatever
You get
reason. And you
socialized
know
medicine,
it.
don't you, in Canada?
Yeah, but you still pay for a lot of your medications unless you have
Right.
insurance.
A
Like I
full
pay
full
for all my
price. Okay.
medication.
Oh, right. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't pay to
Okay.
go see the doctor, but if
Hmm.
I need meds, I have to pay for those.
Okay. Free at the point
Yeah.
of use kind of thing.
Hmm.
Well, damn, the medical system's fucked, man. Everywhere, it's all fucked, but some places worse than others. But yeah, it just hope we can see change eventually. I don't see it happening. Let us know in the chat what you all think. Do you think that there's going to be changes soon? You think people are going to be able to get cannabis medicines for cheaper, or are they going to keep extorting everybody the way that they do? Fucking £2,000 a month. Damn, man. Damn. It's what people are earning. You know, they've just bumped up the minimum wage here in the UK to £12 something. So, and you work 40 hours a week if you have a full-time job. You're going to get taxed
Right.
on that. So, you know, it's for £48 a week, £480 a week if you're on minimum wage. So that's less than £2,000 a month. And that's just for the medicine. And
Right.
there's no job like that pays massively over minimum wage for ordinary people. It's got to be minimum wage and then a couple of quid above it, maybe, if you're lucky. Unless you got a degree and you can go out and find a nice job, and then that might pay a five or more. But nothing fucking extravagant. You know what I mean? It's nothing crazy. Not many people are on a shitload of money. Nobody can afford this. So people are just suffering, choosing whether they should put the heat on, whether they should buy food, or whether they can go
Right.
fucking
Pay their
pay
rent.
the rent or go and get medicine for their child
Right.
so they don't have life-threatening fucking seizures every day. Gosh, man. Shameful. Shameful.
Hunts.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to some good news, shall we? Do you want to cover your one here, Margaret?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
have some good
maybe
news. Yeah. Let's
a little
brighten the
good.
mood a little bit.
So this one is called Victoria to end automatic license loss for drivers testing positive for medicinal cannabis. Victorian medicinal cannabis users will no longer automatically lose their license if they're caught driving with traces of the drug in their system. Instead, magistrates have been given the power to exercise sentencing discretion for drivers who test positive for the cannabinoid chemical THC if they hold a valid prescription for medicinal cannabis and are unimpaired while driving. It's a boon for those who use the drugs to manage cancer treatment, multiple sclerosis, and other medical conditions. Cannabis has been a prescription drug in Australia since 2016. The change comes after the Legalized Cannabis Victoria secured an amendment in the upper house on Thursday night. Legalized Cannabis MP David Ettershank congratulated the government for supporting the change, which comes into effect March 1st. Roadside saliva tests can detect tiny traces of THC more than a week after consumption, but these minuscule remnants have negligible impact on driving ability, Ettershank said on Friday. Under the old law, the mere presence of this remnant chemical meant a compulsory loss of license for 6 months and a steep fine, but the driver had only taken their medicine as directed by their doctor. He said the change meant a user who has taken their medicine as directed can appear before a magistrate, explain their circumstances, and the magistrate can allow them to keep their license. Despite the change, it's still an offense to drive with THC in your system. The only change is that magistrates will have been given discretionary power. So yeah,
Damn, yeah.
that is definitely good news out of Australia for
At
medical
least it's
cannabis users.
something, but it's still not. I thought they were gonna like legislate and put something into law to make sure that people can't be prosecuted for using their medicine. But it's not. It's still up to the judge's own discretion.
Yeah, and you still have to actually take your time out of your day to go to the magistrate and appear before them and explain your circumstances,
Wow.
which means the onus is still on the user at the end of the day.
Damn.
You are right. You would think that if you could explain to the officer who's pulled you over, like why ticket you in the first place, if
Yeah.
this is how they're going to approach it, and like I'm using it as directed with my medical professional. But
Wow.
no,
And you might not even be using it. Like we said, well, it says right there if it's in your
yeah, about a
system.
week. It could have
Yeah.
a sense of traces of it if you used it a week ago or something. Is that what it said?
But it
Uh,
depends on how much fat is in the body and all that, don't it?
yeah,
You
it
can
says
stay
it
in
can
the system
detect
over
tiny
28 days or
traces
something.
of THC more than a week after consumption. But obviously, like the guy's arguing, it's not going to have an impact on your driving ability.
Damn.
So those roadside saliva tests aren't necessarily uh the best way maybe to be testing for THC in somebody's system.
Yeah, it's just you have to figure out a way to test for impairment, right? Do one of them roadside
Yeah,
tests. Do the
it's the
dance or
impairment
something.
that
Yeah,
matters. Yeah. Yeah.
madness. What are you saying about this, Billy? Because you were saying about you got pulled over. Well, your missus got pulled over, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's the thing is, I think the laws in the UK are a bit grey area as well. So it's nice that they're making clarifications, if you know what I mean, and statements and stuff, because that's what needs to be done. The law needs to be clarified and drawn a line under judges, and police need to be told what's going on. Because, like you say,
Mm-hmm.
if some people needed the medication, they may have taken it the night before and then they're testing the next day. It's like, well, that's the same as someone doing drink driving tests, isn't it, from being drunk from the evening before.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no clarity and no. So that's what they need is complete understanding from everyone. So that's where the grey areas need to be sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
If laws need to be thought out properly, they just don't think about changing medicine laws and think, oh, are these people going to be able to drive? There's conflictions everywhere with this
Yeah.
drug, and it's them trying to control every aspect of it, rather than just like complete decriminalisation and then regulation on sales, and that's it.
Yeah. That's it. There's a lot more
It's
to it, and it's not just
fucking
cannabis.
ridiculous.
There's loads of medications that you can take that will fuck you up. I mean, like I think gabapentin might be one of them. Real
Yeah,
strong
that's definitely
painkiller.
one.
If you take that shit, I think I took one of those before, and I was like, I'm never taking that shit again. It like fucked me up, man. I was mashed.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was gabapentin. I'm not sure. It was a strong painkiller. And man, I took one of them, and it was like, nah, dude, I can't fucking do this. And if I wouldn't have been able to drive, and that is on a completely legal painkiller that you can just take. And I think it says, don't operate heavy machinery, which usually means, don't operate cranes and things. But it also means don't drive, because a car is heavy machinery. But yeah, real fucked me up.
If you're super tired, that's more dangerous than driving drunk as
Man,
well.
if you just had an argument with your other half,
Yeah.
and then you have to go out and drive, you will know what it's like. You're more impaired. You're driving much more sporadically than usual.
Erratic, and you're not paying attention, and you're probably driving too fast, and all those things.
You know what I mean? Good bit of fucking dubstep and shit. Dubstep can make you drive a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's quite sort of earthy, and it's like.
Man, I love
So-
dubstep. It just sounds like robots
Yeah.
fighting and shit. I was listening to some of that on the drive today. I did a long drive, and then the dubstep came on, and it was just like, yeah, this is the shit. I love it. Just listening to random robot sounds, But yeah, I like it. I like dubstep. Shout out to all those people who like dubstep out there, everybody. Random tangent. Yeah, but we just mentioned, all these different examples that will impair your driving, and you're not going to lose your license unless you fuck up, right? Because that's how it works. It's like a friend was telling me before. He was telling me a story how he was driving here in the UK, drinking a can of Stella while he was driving. I'm like, "What are you driving?" It's like, yeah, you can drink a beer while you're driving as long as you're not drunk. How fucked up is that?
Yeah, it's like that apparently in Berlin.
You're just able to
Which
drink.
seemed really weird
beer?
to me to be like, you could drive and drink a beer legally. I was just like, okay.
But he's right. If he's only drinking the one beer, if you've had two beers, I think you start going over the limit. So just that one beer, it's fine, right?
Yeah,
How fucking crazy is that?
Bit
that
ludicrous,
is, it is
really.
very crazy. It does seem weird.
Like if you had a spliff last week, you might be able to lose your license. But a couple could pull you over, you're drinking your pint can of Stella. Is there a problem, sir?
Yeah.
Fucking, it's madness. It's madness. Who makes these rules up? But yeah, congratulations to Victoria, and a small step forward there in Australia. At least it's a small step forward. At least you have a chance to go and argue for your rights now instead of just told that you don't have any. So at least there's that.
Right.
Kind of a step in the right direction. Gosh, that was supposed to be good news. It didn't. After them two shitty news articles. Yeah, let's have some good news, and then we hit the good news.
You
and it's
hyping it up?
Well, it's only that's it. It's much more exaggerated, isn't it?
You're hoping for something a lot
Yeah.
better than that.
Like something we can be like, yay, at the end. And no, it didn't turn out like that, did it?
It's like one small step for man, no giant leap for mankind.
Yeah, not today.
Not today. Maybe next week. Well, let's go on to some more news that isn't good.
Ladies and good.
You're from Edinburgh. This one's your one, Billy. You want to take a look at this one?
God, yeah, right. Lovely piece of news here. So, a cannabis dealer was exploited. He exploited a particularly vulnerable man by moving into his home and turning it into a drug den. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! So, some dude. I never read out people's names because I don't want to make them famous. So, some dude.
Because you can't pronounce it. Shut up, Billy.
Nah, I just don't like pronouncing criminals' names. So, do you want me? I can say it if you want, but I don't.
No,
don't agree with
it's
it.
cool,
If you know what I mean,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he targeted. I butcher names in other ways. You see, it's better. So he targeted a man by befriending him and then setting up a cannabis dealing business in his flat in Leith in Edinburgh.
I don't know if that's worse. You know what I mean? Like befriended
Yeah.
him and then exploited him. He instead of just kicking off door and be like, "Fucking move, mate. I'm gonna sell some weed from here or whatever." I don't know what's
Yeah.
worse, man. Befriending the guy, making him think that you was his fucking friend, and then stabbing in the back. That's just I don't know which one's worse, man. I don't know.
Like the deceit or the violence, what's worse? Like, psychological or the physiological.
Yeah, especially being
Like,
an old guy as well, and he might not have many friends, doesn't have much of a social life, and then somebody's come along and be like, "I'll be your friend, mate," and then just fuck him over like this.
Yeah. So
People are
basically,
fucked, aren't they? Sorry,
The
Billy.
the desperate victim repeatedly asked him to move out, and he refused to carry on, and he's selling his drug from his property between June and October in 2022. So the flat was eventually raided by the police when around £15,000 worth of the Class B drug was found on the Sri Lankan drug dealer attempted to pin the blame on the owner. So, which is normal. Like, it's not mine, it's his flat. Like, I just live here. Like, yeah.
Maybe it was. Maybe he is alive.
Yeah.
Maybe all along it is the old guy. Shit.
So basically, he pleaded guilty in the end for being coerced in the supply of cannabis at an address in Leith. When he appeared in Edinburgh Sheriff Court earlier this year. So the prosecutor told the court the victim was particularly vulnerable and suffered from various mental health difficulties and allowed him to move into his home during 2022. So Ms. Green said the bloke had intentionally befriended the man by turning up at his door, claiming he had been thrown out of his flat and needed somewhere to stay for a week or so.
Just preyed on the vulnerable guy.
So the court was told that he moved in on a temporary basis, but the dealer soon took over the flat and moved all his belongings in and demanded a set of keys.
Wow.
The vulnerable man became concerned after the dealer invited his friends into the flat and witnessed him selling drugs from 10 a.m. till midnight.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Almost every day of the week. The fiscal told the court that the man had to move out on a weekly basis. I asked him to move out on a weekly basis and said that he to seek medical attention due to the impact of his mental well-being. And so the victim said he had eventually got confined in his friends at the local bakery who contacted the police on his behalf. The flat was raided where a strong smell of cannabis was detected, and the officers searched and found 1,240 grams of the drug. And it's said to have a street value of around 15 grand. Right. They also said the mobile phones were seized from property which contained text messages that were indicative of drug supply, and that he attempted to blame the man that he was staying with. So the court had heard forensic tests proved that the DNA and fingerprints on the rucksack and plastic bags were in fact the bloke's and not the vulnerable man. So obviously it had all the evidence against him, the phone and obviously with fingerprints. So he said his client was an engineering student and had been sent back to Sri Lanka for a short time following his arrest to live with his father, who is a naval officer.
What? So what, no prosecution? Just off you go. Just wow. Okay.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, basically, yeah, slap on the wrist.
Yeah, 300 hours of unpaid work, like community service. Sounds like.
Yeah, basically, yeah, 300 hours of community service and.
Spoiler alert! Gosh.
Go back home to your naval rich daddy, like especially if he's that high up in the navy, he's not going to be poor, is he?
Probably not.
So
pretty well.
Have some influence to get him a job somewhere. So
what a little shit.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Befriends this dude, and then he like sets up shop from 10 a.m. to midnight and brings all his friends over. I'm sure that was a good time.
Damn, the poor old guy, man. I mean, we've all got old relatives, don't we? It's like, just put yourself in that position, your family member, that old person in your, a vulnerable person in your family has been taken advantage of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to be nice to a guy, like, oh, you need some help, do you, mate? Yeah. No problem. You can come and stay with me. I will look after you. And then this happens, man.
And meanwhile, the kid's got access. Like, he's probably from a, family. His dad's a naval officer. I don't know.
How often is this going on that we don't know about, man?
A lot. I'd say a lot more than what we really think know about.
I think so.
Well.
Yeah, because we had a story about this a couple of weeks ago. Maybe this needs to be made more aware of, people need to be aware of this.
There's a lot of old vulnerable people out there that tap into them right now, sort of thing. Actual drug gangs are taking over their flats. It's crazy.
Damn, man. That's sad. That's so sad. It makes
living in high-rise flats as well. Imagine all the high-rise flats across the cities of the UK, which have been taken over. There you go.
And another thing is, say raise awareness of it, but the more people are aware of it, the more people will take advantage of it as well. Like they might be like, oh, that was a good idea.
Yeah, that's the thing,
I'll
isn't it? You're
go
raising
move
awareness,
into
but you're
that old
giving
lady's
ideas
house
out.
over there. What's she gonna fucking do? You know, man. Fuck. People are fucked, man. This is tragic. Another good news story there. Fucking hell. Damn. This makes me feel sad. Margaret, how do you feel about this? You got anything to say about this one?
No, just that it is sad. I mean, like you said, he took advantage of some poor old man that was just trying to do a nice thing.
Mm. Saying here, sorry, just scrolling on this thing here. Somebody, just some British celebrity has died of dementia. I'm trying to find out who. I'm just hoping it's not fucking David Attenborough. You know, we saw him
Oh,
trending earlier. I don't think it was. I don't think it is. It's not, is it, Billy? You said he was trending earlier.
Yeah, no, I
Attenborough, he's
don't
like
think
a
it's him.
national treasure.
No,
Oh. And he's like
no.
90 or something, and he's
Yeah, he's
it's not
proper
David.
I don't
old.
know. It feels like his voice has not changed at all, though.
Yeah. No, you can tell there's a pronunciation difference in some of the words he says, but I think it's because it's like dentures and because he
Right. Yeah,
would have
that could
had a
be.
different mouth shape and things like that. So certain
Yeah.
syllables don't get said the same compared to what it did like in the 1930s when he first started. But
Right. Well,
I
yeah,
was
times
joking, but
change,
man,
I'm
it might
sure,
actually be
but
legit. It might actually be 1930s. The guy's been around
That's
for a
when
long
he was
time.
born.
Gosh. Yeah. So keep an eye out on your older neighbors and your relatives, everybody. You know, just check on them, just to make sure that this shit
yeah.
isn't going on, man. I
Yeah.
mean,
Make sure
this.
no one just moved into their apartment.
Hmm.
It won't leave
Yeah,
and
you know,
has
because
demanded a set of keys.
this guy he went and told his friends at a bakery, and then they called the police. You know, he didn't even do it himself because maybe he was too
Hmm.
scared to or something like that. But you know, if it wasn't for them guys, then he would still be in
Yeah,
that
if he hadn't have
position.
said anything, how much more time would that kid have been there for?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well done, the
Bastards.
bakery.
Yeah, fair play to
Yeah.
the bakery. You know, they add all these names of shit in there for all of these people, but they don't want to drop their name in the bakery so we can, you know, refer people there. Like, go and check these guys out. Did a good deed. You know, go and buy some stuff from their bakery. But, what can you do? They're not promoting the right things, are they? It's a shame. Anyway, one more then. One more news article. And this, oh man, this one isn't great either, but fucking I don't know. It's not as maybe it is depressing. This is fucked as well, to be honest. I was trying to put a light note on it and try and not end on a bad note here, but unfortunately, it's not gonna be this week because this is fucked, man. Check this out for a headline. We have police launch investigation after boy 7 given cannabis edibles while trick or treating. Because as you probably know that it was Halloween this weekend, so people were out trick or treating, and trick or treating, just in case you don't know, is when you knock on somebody's door dressed as something. You're like trick or treat, and then they give you candy or something, and be like, "Yeah, that was a good scary costume." I don't know, it's some tradition. It's a big USA thing, but we do it here in the UK. What about you, Margaret? You do trick or treat and Halloween kind of stuff in Canada?
Oh yeah, it's super popular here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it is in the States over here, but it's getting more and more popular every year. Anyway, these kids are going out and getting candy, and allegedly somebody gave one of these kids some Cannaburst gummies, which are like a Starburst, which is the type of candy we have here in the UK. So we have police have launched an investigation after a concerned mother said her 7-year-old son was given cannabis edibles while out trick or treating. James Turnbull, 7, it was strange to put a kid's name in a news article, was allegedly handed a bag of Cannaburst, which resembles a Starburst packet, but is believed to contain the Class B drug, whilst out with his brother on Halloween. The story thickens. The plot thickens. Police are now investigating the incident in County Durham, where Simper is actually. That's where Simper's from. On Thursday, with officers and the boy's mother, Terry Turnbull, warning parents to check their children's sweets. That would be scary as fuck. Because do you really? I mean, I don't know. You don't check your kids' sweets when they go trick or treating, do you? My kids don't really do it, so I don't know. But is that something parents have to do now?
I feel like they've always told you to check your kids' Halloween candy.
Because razor
Like
blades and
back in,
apples and all that. Yeah.
yeah, back in the day it was yeah, razor blades and apples. Now it's potential edibles. I don't know who's giving out edibles. That's waste.
Definitely worth checking first then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one's for me, Jimmy. But yeah, not funny. It's not a funny joke, It's terrible that kids are getting I mean, you would hope that if this did happen, because you got to be skeptical as well whether this did actually happen. I mean, he was out with his brother. Maybe his brother did it. I don't know. I'm not saying that is what happened, but you got to hold all these doors open till you know what the fuck actually happened. So
I
more
don't wanna,
investigation is needed. Sorry,
I
go
don't
on.
want to put a downer on things, but people do some right sick shit to children. So
This
it
is it,
doesn't.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
So
what I was
that.
getting to. It's like you don't want to
Yeah.
think that. I'm thinking maybe somebody had some cannabis edibles at their house, and the trick or treaters came and they gave out some sweets, closed the door, and then realized, oh shit, surely nobody's done this on purpose. What a bunch of fucking cunts if they have. Excuse my language, but damn,
Yeah.
that's
It wouldn't
that's
surprise
Yeah,
me.
I
fucked.
know. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
I
what
do
I'm saying. It
agree
just
with you,
wouldn't
Billy, that
surprise me.
some people do pretty horrible things to kids, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, as I'm saying, we do know people do horrible things to children, so like it's not surprising nowadays that something like this would happen. So you should check, obviously, what people are giving to them because what other people do.
Madness. Police are
Yeah,
now Sorry, I'll carry on with this. Police are now investing. Yeah, to check their children's sweets. You read that, right? So it carries on here. The family has been at the Stanley Halloween Festival before the children took the longer route home around the Southmore area to go. Giving you ideas of where the place was. It's somewhere in this area if you're interested. Took the longer route home around the Southmore area to go trick or treating at around 7:30 p.m. as a group of 5. Miss Turnbull said her older son rang her to tell her James had been given some edibles. That'd be concerning. She said, "My little boy wanted them." She said, so this is her saying it. My little boy wanted them. All right, because he probably doesn't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told them to keep the packet and we reported it to the police. Trying to explain to a 7-year-old that they can't have the sweets isn't easy. It's really concerning. I don't know what the world's coming to. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's fucked. I want parents to be aware. Check your kids' sweets. A warning on the packet, which appears to be from the US, reads, "This package contains cannabis, a Schedule 1 controlled substance. Keep out of reach of children and animals. Cannabis is illegal to possess, grow, or deal with in the UK." A Durham spokesperson said, "We are investigating after edible cannabis sweets were allegedly given to a child who was trick-or-treating in Stanley. Officers were urging parents to be vigilant and check their children's sweets as a precaution." Well,
So he didn't eat
fucked.
them, so that's good.
Yeah. I mean, when the kid calls you and he's like, he's been given some edibles,
Yeah.
that's a little bit concerning. You'd be like, shit, did he eat them? And I'm like, no, he didn't eat them. He's like, oh, thank fuck, there's some left for me. I'm only joking, everybody. It's not funny. But you're going to try and make light of it, ain't you? But goddamn, man.
Yeah, but he didn't actually eat them, so that's the good part of this story. And yeah, you should check your kids' Halloween candy probably before they really get into it.
And realistically here, they've brought it down to quite a slim area. They know which route these kids would have taken. And in the UK, I think it tends to be you don't knock on the door if they have no Halloween decorations. If the jack-o'-lantern or something hang outside,
Yeah.
then you'd go and knock on
Yeah, if the
those doors.
lights are off or whatever, you skip
How
it.
many doors did they realistically knock? Surely they are able to go out and investigate this further.
you'd think so,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You'd
you'd
think it'd be
think-
quite easy to do, really.
Yeah, I'm sure they knew what route they took. There's only so many houses.
10, 20 houses. It's not even going to be a lot.
It's a good thing though that the brother called, because that was like a package of 500 milligrams. That would have fucked that kid up.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, 500 milligrams as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, fucking hell. Imagine if the kid would have eaten it. It would have been a completely different type of news story here. Damn,
Oh, it would have, yeah. I
man,
will say his
absolute
costume's
madness.
pretty good.
Yeah,
as
do you see
well.
the costume there, everybody? Does look good. There you go. Scary. Scary. Nice. Yeah, man, tragic. So, check your kids' fucking candies when they go trick-or-treating. It's going to be next year now. I don't think anybody's trick-or-treating after today. But goddamn, man. There are some horrible bastards out there who are just going to do stupid things and put other people in danger. And like, ruin any progress the cannabis community has made by doing stupid things like this. Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's not good press,
Yeah.
is it?
And I would love to give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, it might have been an accident or whatever, but like, come on. I mean, most people go out and buy a box or whatever of Halloween candy. They
Hmm.
open it, they put it in a bowl, they hand it out, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how do your edibles accidentally end up in the bowl?
Damn.
They don't.
I don't know.
So,
There's more to this story. You just, I don't know, man.
yeah.
It seems like there's too many things that just don't add up here. Crazy.
No, they don't. They don't. But
Because who's really just going to give away edibles? Because
that too.
they're not cheap, especially here in the UK. To get them here in the UK, and they've been shipped from Canada and bought here. Yeah, yeah. That's HKB in the chat. There says kids stole the edibles. Maybe, and I'm not saying this is the case. Definitely not, because it might not be. But just just for just guessing, just random shit that could possibly be the case. I was a teenager once, so I know what it's like to be a teenager, and maybe the teenage brother had some edibles, needed a way to get it into the house. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And like, no, I didn't buy these, mom. Honest. So he's like, oh, I can pretend I
right.
got these from Trick or Treat. That's a possibility as well, right? I'm not saying that is what happened. I'm just saying that's a possibility. You know?
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility. They probably didn't anticipate police launching an investigation though.
I know, right? And now he's like, fuck.
Oops. I got myself into a deeper hole now.
Yeah, and that's what usually happens when you do things like that as a teenager,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
And he'll be out there in
that's
like 10 years' time. You're like, oh man, when I was a kid, right? Listen to this. Like when Chunk is telling that story when he's at the cinema and he throws up over the. Yeah. Yeah. Remember that Goonies story? He might not remember it. I have to fucking tell it now. And he pretends to be sick on the people underneath him by throwing some food over on them. And then they start actually being sick. And the whole cinema is just throwing up all over each other. And he feels really bad for doing it. And he's going to be like that. It's just a story he can tell when he's older. God damn. Yeah, crazy shit, man. But still be careful out there, everybody. It's very unlikely that you're gonna find any cannabis edibles in your children's trick or treat stash, right? But just be cautious anyway. It's better safe than sorry. Just a quick check over to make sure that everything's fucking legit and nothing's opened as well, because that's a concern too. People are fucking mental, man. What the actual fuck is wrong with people? Gosh. Yeah, let's not go off on that one. So that's all the news stories that we have here. We've got some forum news that we should quickly cover before we take a quick smoke break. We have Steve Ray's now from the Potent Ponics. You all know Steve. He's been on the show many times before. The Growing with the Fishes podcast, is that what it's called? The Potent Ponics. You know the guy, right? Well, he and his partner welcomed their first baby into the world today, and a little baby boy. So congratulations to Steve and his family.
that's
Very cool,
nice.
man. Very nice. He's got pictures over on Instagram and stuff. Congratulations to that guy. I spoke to him earlier as well. He said he's doing well, but very tired. There's some 28-hour labor and all that. So, it's a
Oh,
long
God.
thing bringing a child into the world. It takes a
Yeah,
while.
then they don't sleep
Yeah.
either.
But sleeping in 4-hour gaps and shit. Gosh, man.
Yeah.
Gosh. Oof. Those are difficult days.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Congratulations to Steve. Also, we have it's the start of the month, so we announce member of the month. So we would like to announce Big Bad Wolfie as member of the month. He's come along to the community, got well stuck in, nice and involved, and getting on well with everybody, and he's being involved in all the posts over on the Discord. As you can see, he's in the chat over on the podcast. So yeah, thanks for being part of the community, man. We appreciate you. So thanks for being on the forum. Thanks for all the work that you do, and I'll add the bling after the show if I remember. But if you don't have the bling by tomorrow, let me know, and I'll add it. Yeah, so that's all the forum news. Anything else to add there? Is that everything already?
Yeah, it's been an
I think
hour.
so.
Yeah. Seems like it just flies by sometimes. Let's take a smoke break then. You ready? Let's
Yeah.
do it. Smoke break. Yeah. Let's smoke then. I'm gonna grab that joint and hit that shit. I'm gonna get
I'm
this
just
shit.
gonna grab a drink too.
Sweet. We'll wait here, Margaret. We won't go anywhere.
Okay.
Well, I won't. I don't know, Billy. You gotta get a drink or anything?
No, I'm cool, man. I can sit here and smoke a break.
Sweet. 61 watching. Hit that like button. Let's end this poll here. Should we? Let's see what people think their plants are saying to them. Somehow, how do we do this? Yeah,
like clicking
51% of the
buttons.
don't touch me. That's good advice, man. Just don't touch the plant if you don't have to. That's the way I feel about it. Look, but don't touch unless there's an issue. What we got? Yeah, it was ended up as 51% don't touch me. Water me, please was the next one. I need more light was the same. 16, 17%, same thing. And then 14% for where's my cow, man. Yeah, just a interesting, just a fun poll I thought I'd throw up there today. If you got suggestions for polls for next week and shit, let me know and I'll fire them up as well. Damn. What should we do about Tuesday? I'm thinking we should just do a Zoom room for the election stuff because it might go on for so long and there's going to be so many YouTube live streams going on as well from channels that are far more knowledgeable and professional than our channel when it comes to this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So I think we should just do a Zoom room and anybody can just come and join us and come and chill in the Zoom room while we
can also have a quick look at some of the other what they're saying, like
yeah, that's it. We
Crowder
can have a look at different
and
live streams.
all the
We can have a
others
look at
and-
different videos and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I'll put the information up on the forum and in the Discord. So if anybody does want to come and join us, and of course, there's going to be lots of differences of opinions. There are people who think either way about different things. So it's best not to come and join us if you can't take differences of opinion. Only join us if you are open to the discussion. We don't want to offend anybody, and nobody who is in there would want to offend anybody either. So just bear that in mind when you come and join us. There'll be differences of opinion around. But I'm probably going to be up watching it until at least the Rust Belt comes in, because that seems to be where it all lands this year.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Damn. Good fun. Is there anybody out there looking forward to it? I'm looking forward to it being over. Margaret said the same thing earlier as well. It's like, I think it's just been such a tiresome cycle this year round. And this is for guys outside of the USA. For you guys inside the USA, yeah, it must be so tiring. Wow. Imagine being in a swing state. Imagine how sick of it you are. Gosh. Damn. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Swingers out there.
Yeah, shout out to the swingers. You know? Right, yeah, what we all been up to this week? Have you done anything interesting?
I've smoked some weed.
You
made
playing
some
that
hash.
Black Ops? How's Black Ops going?
Yeah, man, good. Leveling up as I do.
Mm-mm.
Got a positive kill death ratio.
No way.
Yeah. It's because I was good, innit?
That's
And everyone
difficult
else
to
is
get
a
that is, bro.
bit pants, really.
Mhm.
But still.
Marcus in the chat there said, I try to avoid mainstream news, makes life stressful. It fucking really does, man. It all does. And I don't really pay much attention to it unless it's election season, because I enjoy the whole election cycle. It's like I don't do sports. I don't follow rugby or football, cricket, snooker, or any of those. They just don't interest me in any way. But when the election comes up in the USA, that's like my World Cup, man. It happens every 4 years. I'm like, oh yeah, who's playing this year? And you look at all the players on different teams and check out all the stats. And man, but this
See
year
who their
it's been so
sponsors
bad.
are.
Yeah, it's been so bad this year. It's been so grueling, man. So I can't wait for it to be over. Just like get it done, out the way, and then I'm done for 3.5 years, and then I can turn back into the nutcase that I am in 3.5 years' time.
I just want us to go to Mars. That's all. So we can get your ass to Mars
Bro,
and
right
go
now,
2 weeks.
I
and
just
all
want
that
us to get to
malarkey.
fucking Wednesday. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Forget Mars.
Yeah, forget Mars for now. Let's just focus on this week. You know, crazy times, man. But I'm sure. Let's go on a quick random tangent there about there was the budget in the UK. I don't know if you've seen any of this over your way, Mark. But we had the budget this week in the UK, the first Labour budget for 14 years.
Killed farming.
Oh gosh, the farmers are so pissed that they've changed.
14 years.
Yeah, because we've had a previous government. We had the Tory government, and they were doing the budgets. And now the government changed from the Conservatives to the Labour Party, which, for lack of a better way of explaining it, it's from the Republicans to the Democrats, pretty much. We had the more allegedly conservative party, but they wasn't very conservative this time around. And it's gone back to Labour, which is more of a socially liberal party. And they've done their first budget. And they just like, man, and it's a perfect way to just highlight how full of shit they all are, no matter what side they're in. because people are expecting Labour to be a lot kinder socially to everybody, and they've just fucked everybody. And they're like, oh, we're not going to raise the taxes on workers, and then just went ahead and like raised everything around workers that will also affect the taxes on workers, but not directly. It's like they just played it a particular way to make it seem like they were telling the truth, when in fact they were just fucking us all anyway.
Don't forget
Right.
they've knocked 1p off of the tax on beer.
Yeah, that's like the only
Yeah.
good thing that to come off it is that they've dropped alcohol tax by a penny per pint. So, you know, for an extreme alcoholic who drinks 100 pints a month, they might save a quid. It's like, what
Oh my
the
God, a
fuck?
penny?
Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
yeah,
Cut it,
one
budget?
p, a whole 1p, man. That's gonna make
That's
massive
such
effects,
a
innit?
what a joke.
They're just taking the piss, innit?
But
Yeah,
the
that's
biggest one,
yeah.
the biggest one that seems to be in uproar right now is they've changed the way inheritance tax works, and
Yeah,
farmers
that's the one.
need to pay what is it 20% or something, maybe you're 20%, and they can go up to 1 million if their land's worth 1 million, which it probably is going to be because they're
Oh, it
farmers, they've
definitely
got
is.
lots of land, but they have to pay 100,000 on every million that their property is worth in inheritance tax when they pass away. So their families are going to have
Really?
to pay a ridiculous amount of money in inheritance tax, even though they haven't got the money. It's just land. They would have to sell the land to pay the fucking bill. So they'd have to sell the land, pay the tax on the land, and then also pay inheritance tax and shit like that. Probably, I haven't looked into it. So the farmers are fucking pissed, rightfully so. So they're talking
Some
about
of them-
going and doing a protest on November 19th down in London, and just, you know, like the Dutch farmers did when they were saying you're not allowed to use all that nitrogen anymore.
Like, why are
And
they putting inheritance taxes on the farmers? Why not put it on, like, I don't know, the billionaires? They're the ones
they
who
wanna-
are
well, that's
passed
what they're
Stealing
down.
trying
land.
to do. Yeah, the thing
It's
is,
land grab. It's got nothing
well,
to do
you
with
can see
anything
a lot of
else.
the things that they've passed is in some way trying to get rid of these loopholes that the super rich use to try and prevent them guys paying tax. And
Yeah,
so
but it don't.
yeah, but that's it. They haven't done it right. It's not going to prevent it. And even if they did, they'll just find another way around. The only people who are going to
Yeah.
be affected here are the people who can't fucking afford it.
That's the
It's
excuse they
ridiculous.
use. Oh, we're going after the big dudes. Like, no, you ain't, because they won't affect them. Fuck shit. It's just gonna fuck everyone else.
And
No, but
small
they're too
businesses
afraid
as
to
well.
come out and just like
Some farmers have killed themselves because of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
It's bad, man.
yeah,
you
it's
was
crazy.
asking there, Marco. Was you asking something?
I forget, but farming's hard enough as it is without
Yeah.
having to do this bullshit. And like trying to get people to take over the farms, like family members to take them over
Mm,
after they're too old to farm.
yeah.
I don't know if there's a ton of people who are like, I really want to get into farming.
Yeah, a lot of people are leaving it because they've seen how it's killed their parents, and they're like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, it's hard to
Mm.
make a living doing that.
Yeah. So that's why we're losing it all. It's no farms, no food. Then
Yeah,
what you
no
gonna
farms,
do?
no food. Recently, British Steel has closed down. It's like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
What
It's
closed down?
bad. British Steel, like the biggest steel plant that we have
Oh.
in the UK, closed down recently.
Yeah,
They've
because of
closed down the
climate
last
reasons.
coal. Yeah, climate reasons. They closed down the last coal
But we
power
now
plant.
import that same steel from India instead.
Yep.
Hmm.
It's
Or
not like
China, I
we're
thought China, isn't China a big steel
yeah, but we're
exporter?
getting out from India because they've just
Oh.
built and opened a new plant there, just
Right.
in time for us to close this one down. Conveniently enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Madness, man. Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the
And small
labor's cheaper
businesses
in
affected.
India.
Yeah. That's just outsourcing it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all
man.
they've done. Yeah, just to
Bad.
save our CO2 emissions. Oh, we're doing something for climate change by
Is
moving
that
it
what
across the
why they
world.
said they're doing it?
Yeah,
Mhm,
that's the reason they're doing
They
it. Yeah,
closed the plant in the UK to open it in India because of climate change.
I know, but they don't.
Yes.
They don't tell you about the India thing. You got to look into that yourself.
Right.
That
Well,
would
of
just be
course
like,
there's
oh look,
something
we've
behind
closed
it.
down the coal plant. Aren't we good people now? Look at us. We are a step closer to net zero. Whoa!
Right.
And then just go
Yeah.
buy shit from another country that's got smog. you
Right.
know, like
Yeah,
actually polluted.
it's
Mm-mm.
so ridiculous. Because
Yeah,
I really
it's
feel like
stupid,
at the end of the day, it's the consumers that pay for all this stuff, and the people
Yeah.
who are actually creating all
yeah,
the
us.
all the pollution and everything, they're not held to account in any way, shape, or form at all.
Mhm.
They're just like, we'll just move our entire industry to a place where we can actually get cheaper labor, and then they don't give a shit about the environmental impacts. But
Yeah.
but
Maddening.
we
Drives
don't.
you crazy. Yeah. it all comes down to the consumer at the end of the day. I mean, we've seen obviously there's a big election going on right now, and they're on about, oh, well, we're going to raise corporation taxes. So okay, raise the corporation taxes, and then prices of things increase because it gets passed down to the consumer every time. It's like it's just a stealth tax. You just pretending, oh, we're not taxing you guys, not taxing the poor folk. We're going to tax those corporations a little bit more, and it's like, yeah, so they'll just charge us all a little bit more. It's like, man. The world's gone mad. The world's gone absolutely fucking mad. We all need to smoke more weed to keep us fucking chilled while all this shit's happening. Jesus. I'm just waiting for AI
I'm
to
lucky
take
I
over.
grow my own.
No.
Yeah, that's why I
yeah.
can't
So
wait.
often I'll be talking to my dad, and like he's still pretty religious, and I grew up in a pretty religious household, and he'll be like, I don't think there's long left for this world. And he's referring probably more to like revelations in the
Mhm.
Bible, but sometimes I'm like, you may be onto something.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
We've seen a huge
It's-
drop in birth rates.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
that's
but what's funny about that even is like 10 years ago they were talking about like how there was too many people on the planet, and the whole problem was just overpopulation.
yeah.
Now they're like, oh, but the population rate's declining, and now that's the issue 10 years later. Like, which is it? Is it too
This
many
is why we
people,
need
not
to
enough
stop watching
people?
the news because they're just full of shit.
Right. I think the capitalists are just worried that if there's not enough babies being born, then where are they going to get their new crop of workers to exploit?
Well, from third world countries, that's what they've been doing.
Right.
You know, they just go outsource all the fucking. And when AI comes, they won't need as many people. You know,
Yeah, that's true. They still need people to buy their crap, though.
yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Like, I don't know how
That's
that's
the
going
thing,
to
innit?
work, though, because nobody makes enough money to buy anything. But
Damn.
yeah,
It's interesting, isn't it, everybody?
What
Let
a
us know
time
what
to be
you're
alive.
thinking in the chat. Yeah, for sure. It's a very you've got to just try and enjoy it as it goes along. You know, it's an interesting time to be alive. Absolutely. And we can think that it's really bad, but you know what I was watching yesterday with my boy? A documentary about World War II and the amount of deaths there were throughout World War II, and many people lost their lives. And you see pictures of like actual fucking war like that. That's madness, and you shouldn't stand there and be like, oh well, at least we ain't in fucking war, but and then just ignore everything getting bad, because then we don't do anything about it when we should be trying to make things better. You know, just because it was worse before doesn't mean that it can't be better in the future, and we need to focus on that and try and work towards that instead of just sitting there being like, oh, it's still not as bad as it was, so yeah, just leave it, it's all good. You know what I mean? We still need to focus on making things better, but still, it could be worse. Damn. Sad times, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an interesting week this week.
Yeah, it is.
It's everybody just be kind to each other. All right, that's what you have to do, and try and encourage other people to be kind to each other as well. A lot of people out there got different opinions. You know, there's going to be people voting in one way or another, or not voting at all. And you know, there's going to be lots of discussions that could potentially break apart families and shit. But just try and understand that everybody's got their own perspective. Everybody does things their way, which they see best, and just try not to hate each other for it. It's very important to do that. Lots of people got different sort of opinions, man. You know what I mean? No, it just seems everything seems so divisive right now. It needs to stop.
Yeah,
Man.
it does.
Yeah, but anyway, we should. A nice way to cheer things up is by consuming cannabis, especially with edibles and mushrooms too. Yeah. Doing some PF tech this week. Before we move on to the grow guys, yeah, quick random tangent about the mushrooms. Yeah, trying out some PF tech, a different way of growing mushrooms. I just finished all that off today. Writing a guide over at Percy's. Well, not a guide, more like this is what I'm doing. If it works out as well, you can follow it. It might work out well for you. You know.
What's
Yeah, man.
PF tech?
Just a certain way. I don't know what the PF stands for, or even what the tech stands for, but
Oh, okay.
it's just
It's
just a way of
I know what you're talking about, but I don't.
you know, usually when I'm growing mushrooms, I'll spray some spores into some grain, let that grain get fully inoculated, and then that inoculated grain goes into some substrate. Then the substrate gets fully inoculated, and it all takes time. And then when the substrate is fully inoculated, then you can fruit it and grow some mushrooms from that. That's how it tends to go. But I keep getting contamination all the time. So I've been recommended to try this PF tech because it's just going straight into some substrate rather than doing the grain step. And I'm gonna I'm gonna do grain as well, just cause I like seeing the mycelium grow through the grain. It's a real nice process, you know.
Yeah, it does look kind of cool.
It's very cool, man.
But so you have another thing where you inject the spores right into a substrate instead.
Yeah, pretty much. It's some vermiculite mixed with brown rice flour. Then you get it
Oh.
wet to the right, the right fill capacity, and then you cover a half inch of the layer of that with some dry vermiculite, pasteurize it with your pressure cooker, inject some spores into it, and then just wait until it's properly inoculated. And then you scrape off the vermiculite, coat it with some fresh vermiculite, soak it in water for 24 hours before you do that, so it gets enough moisture. And then, roll it in vermiculite, and hopefully it's less chance of it getting contaminated by something by doing it this way, allegedly. But we'll find out.
Yeah, that's why you have to pressure cook the substrate too, so that you take
Yeah,
out any
yeah.
potential contaminants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's a big job.
we'll see what happens, man. See what happens. They say doing it this way, yes, less yield. But you know what? Over the last few grows, I keep getting mold, so I've got 0 yield. So can't get
Yeah,
any less than
less
that,
yield
can it?
is better than no yield.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
There
And it's
you
not like I
go. And
take
you
a
can-
lot.
Yeah, and you can't really eat, I don't know about you, but you can't eat mushrooms like all the time.
No.
So,
Just once a month, I do like half a gram of mushrooms once a month.
right.
It's not a lot at all, man. And they're penis
Yeah.
envy. It's not like I'm a proper lightweight, but they're penis
Right.
envy mushrooms, so they're strong. But half a gram of that is pretty good for me. Billy is fucking he eats more mushrooms than I fucking do. You know what I mean? You had 3 grams on the last one, didn't you, Billy?
I had 3 grams, yeah.
Damn.
It's interesting.
3 grams of penis envy would fuck me up, man. Damn.
Oh, 3 grams. Right.
Yeah.
That would definitely fuck me up too. The last time I did mushrooms, I did a couple of grams, and they were stronger than I was expecting, and it was. Needless to say, there was a bunch of us together, and then after an hour or so, we all ended up in our own little separate corners.
Oh, really? So you was all just
Balls.
mashed.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, a couple of us took more than 2 grams, but 2 grams was enough for me. I was
Oh, yeah.
high as a kite.
Now, 1 gram is a good dose for me. I like half a gram because I'm not too mashed.
Yeah,
I like to just be slightly hit. Like when you drink to a level where you're tipsy but not drunk. If I can get to that kind of level with shrooms, I'm happy, man. I like that level. That nice warm hug kind of feeling with a little bit of happiness with it, but not too many visuals. I like that.
yeah, I'm gonna do that next time because I was really high.
Yeah, it can be too much.
And it was good. It was good,
Mhm.
but yeah, I wasn't feeling super social. I was just like, yeah, and nobody else was either, so it wasn't just me. It's kind of interesting.
Set and setting and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, we should go and talk about some edibles that are cannabis related rather than psilocybin related.
That's right. I do
Yes.
edibles a lot more than I do mushrooms, so.
Yeah, I do mushrooms a lot more than I do edibles.
Do you?
Yeah, man, edibles mash me up. Like
No.
way too stoned when I do edibles. But it's been a
Well,
while
you
since
just-
I've done some.
You probably just need less, a lower
Mhm.
dose.
But that's it. I just never get a dose right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. It can take a lot of experimentation to figure it out.
Yeah. So let's do the grow guides and talk about that because that's one of the questions. Let's do it.
Sure.
Music plays. So here we are for episode 18 of the Grow Guides. And your plants should be looking nice and flowery by now and letting off a nice smell. So there's nothing you're really going to be doing other than watching the plants grow and reading your cannabis books, which we covered a couple of weeks ago. You should have got a couple of those books in by now. Let us know what you think about those. So today we decided we're going to talk about cannabis edibles and how you can make your own. Because when you have your harvest and you got some spare buds and tip leaf and things like that, then you're going to be able to make some of your own cannabis edibles. We want you to be properly prepared and ready to make some nice edibles out of your trim and maybe the popcorn buds and stuff. So, and luckily for us, we have our lovely Margaret here, who is an expert cannabis edible maker and podcaster and content creator.
Well, thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, it reminds me. I've been meaning to ask for a while. We should get you on the show for an interview sometime, so we can talk to Margaret. You know what I mean? That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. I
Yeah.
haven't done that in like, God, when was that?
Yeah, that was years ago.
A long time ago?
Yes.
3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah,
By now?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely need to sort it out. We need to get you on a Tuesday or Thursday sometime when you're free, or whenever you're free. But anyway, let's talk about that when we're not live. Yeah. So edibles. What is an edible, Margaret? You want to tell us what? I'm sure many people know, but just to make sure they know, do you want to
Oh
explain to
God.
us what an edible is?
Well, edibles are just basically something that you infused with cannabis, usually a fat, because THC is fat soluble, and you eat it. You it goes in your mouth and you eat it, passes through your digestive system. It converts a little bit differently when you're consuming edibles versus smoking, as anybody who has consumed probably knows. It's going to take a lot longer to take effect. It's going to last a lot longer. But for some people, that's the jam,
Mm-hmm.
like me. Yeah.
Do you take edibles every day, Margaret?
Not every day, but close to, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, for me, they just mash me up. As I mentioned, they mash me up. So I haven't done them for a while, and it's because of the dosage, and that's the most difficult thing because you have to make your own here in the UK, and just getting. And I've been to Bite Me the Show about edibles because you got a calculator over there on how to
Hmm.
get the correct dosage and shit. But yeah, that still didn't work out for me. I still made them too strong.
Yeah, the calculator, like, I mean, maybe we can, might as well, do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah,
Dosing
surely.
edibles?
Yeah.
Because it's like the dosing your own homemade edibles, that is the one time where it can get, it's hard to necessarily know exactly how strong the edibles are that you're making because there's so many factors that go into it. The calculator that I have on my website is a great way to sort of give yourself a sort of a benchmark of how strong your edibles are. But unless you know exactly how strong the cannabis is that you're using, you're kind of guessing a little bit.
Hmm.
But guessing is still better than having no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, because at least you have sort of like a range. So if you figure out that there are 25 milligrams and you're like, I'm not really sure, you can always cut that piece of whatever into half or to quarters or what and work your way up,
Mm.
kind of thing. Because the go low and go slow thing is excellent advice in this particular realm,
Hmm.
as anybody who's ever overdosed on edibles will tell you. You don't want to jump in and consume something too high. But I mean, and there's stuff you can buy. Like if you are making edibles a lot, a T-check is a great thing to use to sort of dose your edibles. But they're a lot of money, and a lot of people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
But you should still try and at least figure out how strong they are within a given range.
So how would you be able to do that? Yeah, because I would say I have some cannabis flower. I would estimate it to be about 20% THC. So
Mm-hmm.
then say you weigh out a gram of flour.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's a small amount, but you just for number purposes. So you weigh out a gram of flour, 20% of that. So that's 1,000 milligrams. So 20% of that weight is THC. So you got
Mm-hmm.
200 milligrams in that 1 gram, right? Is that how that works?
Well, basically, oh, the math is it's not what I like doing, but so let me see. I have the math. I pulled up the thing that shows the math because basically you take the total number of grams, like you said, so a gram, and you would times it by 1,000, which will give you the milligrams of the flour that you're using, like you said, right? So if you have 1 gram, you times it by 1,000, that's a
Yeah.
1,000 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would divide that by the percent of the THC. Like you said, the only problem sometimes is that people are guessing because they don't
Mm-hmm.
know how strong their cannabis is if they're home growing. But
That's right. If I'm
sometimes
thinking 20%, but it's actually like 27, then that's fucked. And if it's only 12, then that's going to be massively different, isn't it?
I
You
would
know?
suggest though, in most cases, people doing like home grow it's not gonna be
Oh
27%.
no,
And
no.
even
They might
though
tell
it
you that, but it's not the case. Yeah.
yeah, and honestly, you don't need 27, we all know you don't need 27%
Mm-hmm.
THC flower for it to be fucking fire. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like vanity metrics that they use in the dispensaries in a way, because some people still equate quality with high percentage THC,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just kind of that's bullshit,
Yeah.
honestly. It's just not true because I think we've all smoked flower that's like way less than that, and then you're like, I'm so high. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, wow, this is like 14%. What's going on? But there's a lot of other things going on, obviously. But so that's where, you kind of have to guess a little bit, but I say 20% is not a bad way to sort of
Yeah, it's probably more like
guess.
17, but it's more difficult to do the maths when you go to a number like 17.
Yeah, and then also you might as well err a little bit on the side of caution. I always say it's better to guess a little bit higher and then proceed,
Mm,
accordingly than to underestimate and then have them end up being stronger than you think,
hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you divide the percent by the THC of the strain. We're saying 20%. And then you figure out how much base ingredient you're going to use. So obviously, if you're doing a big like a batch, you might use well, in this case, a cup of coconut oil, for instance.
All right.
And then you would divide that total amount. What does it say here? Divide the total amount of your total infused ingredient by the amount you used in your specific recipe. So you're just sort of like moving it down into serving sizes.
Right. So
I feel
you've
like this is
already
clear as
infused
mud,
that.
but
After you've infused it, you're breaking it down to serving sizes. Huh?
yeah, yeah,
Right. See, this way it
yeah.
gets
So if your batch of cookies is 24, then
right. I see what you mean.
yeah,
So yeah. So you had that 200 grams. In my example, we had the gram, which was 1,000 milligrams. Then we had 20% THC, so it's 200 milligrams, and that 200 milligrams is going to say let's go into 20 cookies. So each cookie should have 20 milligrams in each. 10 milligrams in
yeah,
each because we're working with 20. Yeah, so 10 times 20 equals 200 grams from that 1 gram. That sounds
right.
correct.
Yeah, that does sound about right. Yeah, so that at least gives you like an idea of how strong the edibles are that you're working with, and you can sort
Hmm.
of, because especially if you're giving them to people, I always find, because I've had people give me edibles before, and it'll be like, here you go. I have no idea how strong they are.
Good luck.
What do I do with those? I usually end up putting them on my counter, and then I feel bad about it, but I have thrown out edibles before that people have given me because I have no idea
Hmm.
how strong they are. And sometimes they'll be like pretty small pieces. So even if you do cut them, I don't know. I'm just like so cautious of it because I have overdosed myself
Yeah, and it wasn't a good
enough.
experience. Oh.
No, it's terrible. Like I've woken up really high before that I've had to call into work because I couldn't go because I was so high. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was not fun, but and
And that was
usually
after you've had a nap or something? So you've taken some, had a nap and woke up and still been like,
oh
whoa,
no, I went to bed. I went to bed in the evening and I was
fuck.
still like and I did it to myself. I made this batch of cookies and
Jeez.
they were warm out of the oven and I ate one and then I think I ended up eating like four of them. I don't know
Oh
why
no.
to do. This was a while ago now, but it was still at a point in my life where I knew better. Like
Yeah,
I'd
but
been doing
still,
it enough.
them warm cookies, Margaret. I know what you're saying. No, it
I
would be
know,
difficult to only eat one. I mean, there's
I
a
know, and
few
I
that you
didn't.
might. What if they're low dose? Sometimes try it two, innit? And then you do
But
like, okay,
I
free.
knew what I was doing. I was using relatively the same process to infuse my fats and stuff. I knew that they weren't going to be like super like it was just a dumb decision to make. And yeah, I paid for it because I got really high and then I went to bed and I was so high the next morning. It
Damn.
was yeah.
So what
So
does
go low and go slow,
yeah?
people.
What does it feel like to be
Difficult to
like?
have sympathy there. Sorry, Margaret, but yeah,
I
it
know,
is.
I know. But
Four though, come on.
I've
I
also
Oh,
understand the warm cookies out the fresh out the oven though, but
yeah,
oh
you
no,
I
know
haven't
the
done it
right.
cannabis
since.
cookies. It's a
Come on.
bit after the second one,
You
you're a
know,
bit.
little bit of ice
That's
cream in
good.
there. So not
Yeah.
them warm cookies. Get a couple of scoops of ice cream on
Oh,
there.
don't.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
And
Okay,
now
I'm
you're
I mean,
eating
they
talking.
weren't like
5 then.
super big
Fuck.
cookies or anything, but oh,
Sorry,
they were so
Margaret.
good.
What was that?
I said they weren't like really big cookies or anything, but they were delicious and I have a sweet tooth. So, which is one
Mm-mm.
reason why I like to infuse my sweets because after that incident, I'm like, yeah, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
And forces me to just eat a reasonable amount of my sweets because I know how high I could potentially get and
You've
how
already done it.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
that is.
Hmm.
No, no.
Right.
So,
Man, we went over that whole maths thing that we did there with 1,000 milligrams. 200 milligrams of that was THC or the active ingredient or what you're putting into the
yeah.
cookies, but we didn't explain what happens with the decarboxylation. When you decarboxylate, does it convert all of the THC or only a certain amount? Is that something you need to take into consideration? And yeah, let's talk about decarboxylation too.
Yeah, some people do and some people don't. I tend not to because I think it's a certain point you're starting to split hairs, and there's just no way that you're going to ever be 100% accurate when you're doing it
Mm.
at home. And
Hmm.
unless you're going to send it to a lab to get tested, which, is it really worth it at the end of the day? Probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
So I just don't get into that because it just seems unnecessary.
Hmm.
You definitely don't convert all the THC if you're doing it, especially in an oven, because ovens are just notoriously inaccurate temperature wise. Like I've had lots of chefs tell me that unless you're using like super high grade commercial kitchen equipment, even though your oven says 240 degrees Fahrenheit, it's going to have like hot spots and cool spots. And, the temperature just isn't super accurate during the
Mm.
entire decarbing process. But you should decarb because that is what activates the THC or whatever cannabinoids you're trying to activate in your cannabis
Hmm.
and makes it way more potent than if you skip that step, which is why they've got whole devices devoted to doing that.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Things have
but
changed,
so
haven't
you
they?
should do it. What's that?
Things have changed, man. You get devices for it now.
I
Rather
know, I know. And I think if you do get like I have an ardent and you can infuse in that thing too, but I typically just use it to decarb.
Mhm.
And it does activate more of the THC in your cannabis. I think that's, half the reason why she designed it that way is just so that you're gonna get more out of your cannabis.
Mm.
But uh, again, I think if you're making your own edibles, you're using trim or whatever, unless you're doing it all the time and you're worried about smell, then your oven's going to work just fine.
Mhm.
You don't need to run out and get anything fancy. It's kind of nice to get those things, but
Yeah, just to make a few edibles here and there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it will stink in your like if you do it in your oven. Some people need to be aware of that. It will
mm.
make your entire place smell like toasted cannabis. And
Delicious.
I don't mind the smell, but depending on where you live or who you're
Yeah,
living
that's it.
with,
Yeah,
like if you're having
you
company
don't want your
over or
neighbors smelling it.
whatever, yeah, they might not appreciate it so much. Because I remember when I used to do it at my old house, I would like it just stank so much that I didn't mind it, but not everybody else enjoyed it. So the advantage of some of these infusion device or decarb devices is that it really does cut the smell drastically. Now, I
Mhm.
have heard people say that you can do it in a mason jar in the oven as well and have a lid on it, and that will trap the smell inside the mason jar. So that is an option to help cut the smell if you don't want to go spend hundreds of dollars on a device, which totally makes sense. So that's one way to sort of mitigate that and still decarb your weed. Or if you already happen to have I don't know if many people have like a sous vide, one of those sous vide devices
Mhm. Mhm.
because that's another way to decarb as well and
Yeah.
really keep the smell away.
Yeah, man. And then you can use decarbed weed from your vaporizer as well. If you got a vape, everybody
Yes.
use
Yes.
the
So
decarb weed out of that.
yeah, and that's ready to go. So you can skip the decarb part and just throw it right in your infusion. Or you
Mhm.
could probably just throw it right in your whatever like that. I mean, you have really it's hard to know how strong it is, but if you want to fuck around and find out and disregard everything I was just saying a few minutes ago, then by all means.
Don't eat 5 of them. Fuck. But we
Yeah.
briefly mentioned there about the the whole decarb process because you can't just use ordinary cannabis, everybody, yeah, to make edibles like cupcakes and things that don't get cooked for long periods of time, because that's not gonna. The THC on the cannabis is called THCA, and before it becomes the psychoactive version, just THC, when it loses its A, it needs to be heated up, and the shit gets vaporized, and then you breathe it in, and it makes it THC rather than CA. It's THCA. And that's the same with CBDA as well. I badly explained it, but you get the gist of what I'm talking about. So when you're
Mhm.
smoking the cannabis, it's not like the burning stuff that's gonna get you high. It's the shit that's heated up just behind the burn that's getting decarbed and you breathing it in. Yeah, it's a interesting little bit of science or something. But when you're using a vaporizer, that's decarbing the cannabis and you breathe in the cannabinoids from there as well. And the shit left behind, then you can use that for edibles because that's decarb. There's still THC left behind.
That's
No,
why I love decar or that's why I like love vaporizers too, because it just means you can stretch your cannabis even further because
mhm.
you get to enjoy it by vaporization. and then you can save all that stuff and use it in edibles. So you've kind of like enjoyed your weed twice, which
Yeah, and got the most out of it, you know, squeezing out every little bit of that you can get out of it.
right.
But that decarb stage is important, and you're gonna get much more of a better effect and much more of an effect as well when you decarb the cannabis and use that with your edibles instead of just adding cannabis to stuff. I've done it before, man. On a New Year's Eve, I was working New Year's Eve with some friends before, and I was like, "Well, let's I'll bring some space cakes into work, right?" And you know that's like cannabis space cakes. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, so I just gone and cooked, like ground up bud into the cake mix. just and just
You can
fucking
do that.
cooked that. I know, yeah, but the fucking flavor, oh my god.
It will.
It was so
Did you do
like
first?
no, just put it in there and cooked
Oh,
it. So and you know it was just tasted so fucking planty. It was so,
yeah, it was bad.
and we're just trying to eat these fucking cupcakes, and we're gagging. You know
It's
that?
kind of like
Oh,
when you're
it's
eating
funny.
mushrooms, when people are just eating raw
Oh yeah,
mushrooms.
yeah. Oh god.
It sounds very similar to that. But if you decarb it, you could still also throw it in your batter or whatever. I've done that before
Yeah,
too.
it's not when it's decarbed. The taste is
Yeah,
nowhere near the same. You can handle
no.
decarbed weed. It's not too
It's still gonna
it's not
taste
too planty.
a little plantier than if you infused it, but it's not actually not that bad. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you're throwing in like just dried weed into your it's
Mm-mm.
not gonna taste good. And you're not gonna get nearly as high. Like you're kind of wasting your weed a little bit, in
So
my opinion.
yeah, and how long do you decarb for? So you do it in the oven. You mentioned doing it in the oven. At what gas mark or heat do you do that at? What temperature you do it at? And we can convert afterwards.
Probably, I mean, I've heard so many things over the years, but I probably average it out around 240
Right.
degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a pretty low temperature, and
Yes,
then
I
about
noticed
half an
that
hour,
when I did it. Like my oven couldn't really go any lower, and
right?
I had to put it in there for like half hour. Covered it with tin foil, broke it up, covered it with tin foil, put it in the oven, and left it for about 40 minutes, I think, and that was done maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll smell it, you'll know, and then it'll like visually it'll change as well.
Hmm.
Like it looks more brown, like you toasted it when you take it out.
Yeah, that looks toasted. Have you done any of this before, Billy? You done do you decarb weed and make edibles? Because I know you make a lot of hash, but do you make edibles too?
I don't, because unfortunately edibles don't affect me, so
Right.
that's a bit of a bummer, really. But
Oh,
uh,
that's too bad. But
yeah,
I think I heard a stat recently, like 15% of people don't feel the effects of cannabis. Or
yeah,
like,
it's,
sorry,
it's
cannabis when
for
it gets
various
it.
reasons, but
Right.
most people with gastro problems like me have issues with absorbing it properly. You see, so you
Mhm.
can't process the THC.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But in Discord, I put a chart. It's called the Journal of Chromatography. It's the heating temperature chart to tell you how you should decarb how long you should decarb it for what temperatures and
Sweet.
for what times. So
Nice. Yeah, so check it out on the Discord. Nice, Billy.
it's quite easy chart to look at as well. So it's quite cool.
What does
This
it
is used
explain? Is
by
it?
so it has heat, temperature,
Hmm.
and time. So say if you're cooking at 94 degrees Celsius,
Hmm.
then it tells you this is how the line of how the THC goes up over this period. You see, and then if you're cooking at like 122 Celsius, obviously it goes up. There's more of a higher curve, so you cook it
Right.
for
Right.
shorter. Yeah,
Okay.
you see. So and depending on how long you bake for and or will decarb
Hmm.
for what temperatures and all that is the type of effect you have.
Nice.
So it's an interesting chart to look at.
So yeah, so you want to decarb the weed, then everybody, that's what you want to do. You want to get some cannabis, you want to decarb it, and if you want to find out the right sort of dosage, then definitely head over to the what's the website exactly, Marge? bitemepodcast.com.
That's it. Yeah.
So there's a calculator over there, and you'll be able to figure out how much you want to use. What would you recommend, Margaret? How many grams of cannabis do you get together? Say we're going to make some cupcakes. We're going to make a dozen cupcakes. How many grams of cannabis would you do? What's the process from getting from the cannabis up to the cupcakes?
So sorry, how much cannabis would I use for a dozen
Yeah, so
cupcakes?
like you're gonna decarb it. You're starting from you've just harvested. You've got one of your
Yeah.
buds out your jar, and you've
Yeah.
broken it down. You're gonna decarb it. How long are you decarbing for? How do you infuse it into some kind of oil to make into some cupcakes? To take us from the beginning to the end, you know?
Yeah, so I would decarb it first, like we were just talking about. If
Hmm.
I would either do it at my oven or do it in one of my devices. But in the oven, I would probably do it for like half an hour at about 240 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I would infuse it into a fat, typically. Even a cupcake, I mean, you can do like an oil, an olive oil, coconut oil, or butter, whatever you think you might use, because you're not necessarily going to use the entire batch that you make for your batch of cupcakes. But let's say you do a cup of olive oil or butter, and you might do 7 grams in it, for instance.
Hmm.
And then you're
What
going
do
to end
you
up,
do?
it depends. I mean, I have so many devices now that I have the
Oh,
luxury
right.
of
Yes. Yeah. So you don't have to mess around with all them steps. Yeah, I know what you mean.
no, but I mean, like, oh, you mean like how do I actually infuse it?
Well, yeah, but like you've decarbed the cannabis now.
Yeah.
How would you
Um,
infuse it into some butter, for example? Would you use butter?
yeah, like I mean, butter's probably one of the ones I use the least, actually, surprisingly. I use oil a lot more, but
Coconut
I
oil or
would
something?
I like olive oil a lot too,
Okay.
actually. It's useful for a lot of stuff, and a lot of recipes that would use butter can also take olive oil, but um a lot of the times I'll put it in like a jar, like whatever fat I'm using in a clean jar with the cannabis I'm using, and then I put that in a pot and I fill the pot with water outside the jar. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, yeah. So it's
And
like
then I
what's
just
there's a certain word for it, like the double bath in it or something. I don't know, there's a
yeah,
certain word for it.
yeah, just so that you're heating the water, the glass is in the jar of water.
Hmm.
And I'll bring it to a boil and then just let that simmer for a couple of hours on the stove.
Yeah.
So once I bring it down to a boil, bring it up to a boil, I'll turn it down a little bit so it's not like bubbling away because sometimes it can clatter a little bit, which is annoying, but you just let it simmer. And sometimes I might have to come out and like top off the water level so that it's above whatever's in the jar.
Hmm.
Because it's going to evaporate a little bit as it's simmering away. But yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do that for a couple of hours. And then once that's done, I'll let it cool a little bit because it's going to be pretty hot once you take it off the stove. And then once it's cooled enough to handle, you have good gloves to handle it, then you would strain it because you
Right.
obviously want to take the weed out.
Yeah.
And
And
then you
that's
have
much easier to do when it's still in liquid form.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It is nice to let it cool a little bit because right out of the
Hmm.
pot it's going to be fucking hot. So yeah. So that's how I would do it if I wasn't using a device. That's how I did it a million times. I still do it sometimes, actually, depending on what I'm doing. So yeah, that's typically how I do it because it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
And
and
you
then
don't
you
need any
just use
special
that.
equipment. You
Yeah.
need a glass jar, you need a pot, and you need access to water. So you don't need anything fancy.
A cheesecloth. I remember having to
Yeah,
get a
you can also
cheesecloth.
get like little fine mesh sieves.
Hmm.
I guess
Hmm.
you do need one of those, something to sieve it with or to like strain it, but the cheesecloth or a good fine mesh sieve to strain it. But
And the last time I made some as well, well, I say I made some, the wife made it, but that's 50% me, so it counts halfway, in my opinion. Right. But last time I made some, it was quite nice, man. It was quite delicious, really. There's a certain
yeah,
crispiness to it.
yeah.
It's strange to explain it like that because you all don't know what I mean. But I don't know, like this smoky, savory, biscuity kind of aftertaste to it, man. It was really fucking nice. It was very enjoyable. It wasn't like the cupcakes I remember from that day at work on the New Year's
No,
Eve. It wasn't
they would
like
be
that.
very different.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because once you've infused it into a nice fat, you're not going to really, I don't find I taste it almost ever in anything that
Mm.
I make.
That's
And
it.
if you're
And
concerned about that, just use something that's going to mask the flavor, like, maybe peanut butter cookies or something with a stronger flavor. But I usually don't find it's too much of an issue. And if there is a bit of taste, I don't mind that much at all, actually.
yeah.
So,
Then
yeah.
it's as simple as adding that to, because if we were making butter and you were trying to make cupcakes or cookies that needed butter, you'd just use that infused butter in the recipe as explained on a box or something like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a
Yeah.
recipe. Yeah, you just add, when it says add 10 grams of butter, then add 10 grams of your butter. And if that's going to be too strong, then you could just simply add 5 grams of that and 5 grams of normal butter or something, couldn't you? You
Exactly. You
don't
can
have to
do a
go too far.
ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just do a ratio tailored to your own personal preference. Or if you're uncertain and you just want to make sure they're not going to be too strong, or you have people you want to share them with, then those are all reasons why you might want to do a ratio. But I mean, you're making your edibles, you could do whatever the fuck you want. So
Yeah. That's it.
yeah. Yeah.
It's yours. If everybody's too lightweight, then tell them you don't want to take these. They're too strong for you, and just enjoy
Yeah.
yourself. You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then once you get into one, and yeah, once you've made your infusion, you can use them in any recipe that calls for a fat. And if you're not really much of a baker, one thing I would recommend, I was never really much of a baker either, but edibles changed everything for me. So
Many people are not much of a gardener, but you know, cannabis change everything for that.
exactly, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Um, but like just go to the store and get a box mix of something you like, because it doesn't really get much easier than that.
Hmm.
So if you like banana bread or you like, I don't know, bran muffins or you like chocolate chip cookies, you go to the store and find a box mix as long as it asks for a fat to be added to whatever package mix that you're buying.
Yeah, easy.
And you just replace it
Yeah,
with your infusion.
yeah. It's just I think the most difficult thing about the whole process is the just getting the dosage correct, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, like anything, it takes experimentation. Like if you're talking to somebody who's just starting out with cannabis in any context,
Mm.
they're trying to find, you know, a cultivar or something because they have like, I don't know, they're dealing with sleeplessness or whatever the thing is. Sometimes it can take a lot of experimentation with cannabis to figure out what's going to work best for you, right? And the same thing applies to edibles as well. And that dosing is sort of, you know, why it's good to keep track of what you're doing or how you're making things. You should always write it down. Even if it's like a note on your phone or in a notebook or in a edibles journal, like the one that I have on Amazon or
Nice
whatever.
plug. Nice. What was that about the thing on
Yeah.
Amazon, Margaret? You want to go into more
It's
detail there?
the
Because it would
Bite
be
Me
useful for
Edibles
people to get
journal.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's available worldwide through my favorite store, Amazon.
That's my favorite too.
And yeah, I mean it's just to help people like track, and it can be also if you're like eating, like buying edibles from a dispensary, if you live in a place where you have access to that too, because when you're figuring out your tolerance, sometimes it can take some experimentation. So, but I've just learned from personal experience. You think you'll remember, you're like, oh yeah, I put 7 grams and
Yeah.
this much, whatever. Or, you know, sometimes I've done like an ounce or a couple of ounces when it's a bigger batch of something. And you're like, I swear I'll remember. And
Yeah.
you fucking do not remember. You never
That's
remember.
right. You only remember if it's like a traumatic experience where you know for sure you ate 4 of those cookies, you know?
Right. But I couldn't tell you like how I couldn't tell you to this day how strong they were or what kind of infusion I
Oof.
used for those cookies, but I do remember the result. But, you know, if you don't write it down,
That's it. If you wrote it down, you'd know to avoid that for next time.
right. Or you would
Hmm.
have an idea of how strong each cookie was. So you'd be like, oh yeah, that's where I should have stopped at 2 instead of
Hmm.
going for 3 to 4, being the gluttonous self I was at that particular point in time.
But
But
again, though, man, warm cookies coming out of the oven, Margaret. How can
I
you? Oh
know.
man,
You know
in
what I
that
did
soft
today,
middle,
actually?
what you do?
Well, I ate so much bread because I took a fresh loaf of bread out of the oven and then I like ate so much bread.
Oh, yeah. You see, another one, fresh bread out of the oven.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh.
I'm gonna have to like make I do like making bread, but fuck, I just eat so much of it.
I
Like
see.
high on homegrown confessions.
Yeah, infused bread. Just dip it or
It
anything. You
wasn't
just
even
have
if
that.
it was,
I mean, just the bread
maybe.
on its own, good, and it just comes out of the oven like that. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, look at us
But
going
then
on
once you start
tangents.
getting comfortable with the process of like decarbing and infusing, you can start like, oh God, there's so much, like you can infuse so many things. Like any fat you can think of, really. You can infuse salts and sugars as well. Um,
Yeah, MCT is a popular one. I've seen lots of people using the coconut oil.
yeah, coconut oil is a good one too. I always have
Yeah, I've
MCT
got some of
oil.
that in the fucking in the cupboard, and I bought it ages ago. I think I'm gonna make some edibles with that, and I never did, and it's still sitting there. Maybe I should listen to this episode and make some edible
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
you can infuse alcohol as well. I saw somebody asking about that in the chat. Obviously, there's a few other, you know, some concerns, not concerns, but considerations, I suppose, when you're getting into infusing alcohol, if you're wanting to make it like use it to make concentrates or something like that. But I mean, you don't want to blow up your house or anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I mean, you can do like the old fashioned, just put your weed in some vodka or whatever
Yeah, and let it
and
sit there,
infuse
and
it
it's gonna
that way.
taste like shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's what
grassy
tinctures
flavor
are
comes
though,
back.
right? Like
Mm,
that's the difference between that's what a tincture is usually they're alcohol based. And that's why when you drop them under your tongue, they sting so fucking bad. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
man.
you can it just opens yourself up to a whole new world. And then if you're doing like infusing some of those liquid oils, you can even get into doing things like body care products as well,
Mm.
which Christmas is coming.
I was thinking that. How would do you know how to do that too? Do you know how to make lotion? Easy lotion. Can you just get normal lotion that you'd buy from the supermarket or the chemist, and infuse cannabis into that?
I've never actually done that before, although so I don't know how that would work. Exactly. I have made like body butters, massage oils, face oils, which are basically just body oils, really, but um, and salves and stuff like that. And they're not necessarily that difficult to make. Lotions can get a little more complicated. I do have a guest coming on my show. I've recorded it, but it'll be coming out in a week or two. And she's specialized in making like body butters and that kind of thing.
So
Um,
body butter like a cream? Is that not like a lotion? Or am I just getting words mixed up?
Well, I've been making body butter for a long time, and even before, probably I was making edibles, I think, actually. And they're just the one that I make in particular. I've made a couple, but the one that people seem to really love is it's just really thick and emollient, I guess, and makes your skin feel, I love it. It makes your skin feel kind of greasy for a while.
Hmm.
It doesn't like soak in super fast, whereas a lotion probably would. So that's
Right.
kind of the, yeah. But they're nice. They're nice on the skin, especially in the wintertime.
Because I've
No
heard.
chat, you can't use it as a lube. We know what you like.
Yeah, I was
What's
going to say
that?
that, Billy. Just about to say you can't use it as a lube, says Billy.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Why, Billy?
Well, I suppose you could if you really wanted to, but it's getting dosage right in it.
You can't get high that way though. You don't get high with it topically.
Yeah.
Can
Oh,
you use?
honestly, there you can make like cannabis. They're not really cannabis lubes don't really necessarily work the same way as a typical lube would, but if you are with a partner that happens to own a clitoris, they are very effective, actually. And you just
They,
need a few drops.
but that owns one. Can you purchase one off the internet? Can you?
You can buy them.
I suppose you can. Yeah, I suppose you
I've
can
bought
buy
them at the
clitorises off the
dispensary
internet. Yeah.
that I used to work at. Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy them flashlights, isn't it? That's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. So you can use it for that purpose as well. And a lot of women report that it actually makes everything more relaxed, makes everything feel better.
You
If
see,
women have like experience pain during sex, it can really help lessen that a lot, which means they're going to enjoy it more. Like there's a whole bunch of reasons why
see, I
cannabis
was gonna
based.
say I was gonna make some for my missus, but now you've just made it all awkward because she's got a bad wrist, and it might help if you rub some CBD on it or something using a salve. But now you've made it all all
You can
awkward
use
by
it all
me.
over the place.
Luby.
Yeah,
That's the
you
great
can
thing
lose it
about weed.
everywhere, everybody.
You can use it head to toe. Yeah. And that's the other thing I love about weed too, is because even if you don't want to like get really high or whatever, there's lots of people who love using cannabis just for topically. And that's
Hmm.
what I love so much about it. And I know lots of people who loved using it for things like arthritis or like body pain or whatever. Like we all know people who I like using it for that. I don't have arthritis, but I have back pain. So
And you can just rub your body butter on it, and it helps, does it?
yeah,
Cool, cool.
yeah. Yeah. So you can
It-
do a lot of cool stuff with it.
and is that the same principle as making the butter? Like the butter, just adding the 7 grams to some butter and boiling it in the jar for a couple of hours, and then straining it. Same principle.
Yeah, because you're just using like the body butter that I make is basically olive oil, coconut oil, beeswax, and some essential oils to give it a
Cool.
nice scent, right? So you can use like all or I've never done an entire batch where everything was infused because I tend to make really big batches of it, but I might have to try that soon because I usually make a lot of stuff before Christmas.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think. Have you
But
got a recipe for that over on your website?
I'm trying to think. I definitely have ones for like the body oil and an intimate oil and a massage oil. And I use like an infused, actually the face oil I'm using on my face right now, I tried an experiment where I infused some oil with raw cannabis. And I'm not really sure. I have to do some more research on what the benefits might be for my skin, but I'm using it anyway and it smells like weed. So I'm like, yay. But yeah,
And
can
do you
do
notice a
all kinds.
difference in between the raw cannabis versus decarbed?
Well, I mean, I'm just using it on my skin, so I
Right.
don't, yeah, it's not really for the pain effects per se,
It's
but
just
I've
so it can
talked to
smell of
chefs.
weed. Nice.
Yeah, and I've talked to chefs before. They're like, if you skip the decarb, a lot of the times chefs might use that infusion to help preserve some of the flavors in the cannabis, like the terpenes.
All right. Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Good idea. Yeah.
yeah, but then you're not really getting the same potency as you would if you did decarb. And then when you decarb and infuse, you are going to lose some of those terpenes. So there's always a bit of a trade-off when it comes to that kind of thing. But yeah.
Nice and easy. I had trouble making gummies. Because I don't know, it just turned out more jelly than gummies. I suppose that's just adding more gelatin or something. What's the easy way to make some gummies?
Ooh, that's a good question because I find gummies can be tricky because we're always hoping for that texture of like when you go to the store and buy gummies, and there's a lot of
Hmm.
recipes out there, especially if you're looking at like healthy recipes. Most of the don't look for healthy gummy recipes. You'll be disappointed. I've done that a lot and I've always been disappointed. And usually a decent gummy recipe is going to have like all the stuff, like lots of sugar and gelatin and all these things. So it's probably the recipe that you had,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
probably.
imagine. Because some of them turn out more like Jello. I've had
Yeah,
some that, and
yeah.
I'm just like,
That's like jelly in the UK. Same thing. Mine turned out like Jello. We just
yeah. And like, I'm like, that's not a gummy though. Like that
no.
is an edible
Yeah,
of some kind, but
but
it's
you're not
not,
chewing it. You know, you got to chew a gummy.
no, no. So I do have some recipes on my website. I haven't made gummies in a while. The last couple times I made them, I actually used like a gummy kit. And I
Hmm.
know that's maybe cheating, but I just added my own stuff into it. And that seemed to work pretty good as well. But yeah, a lot of the times it's the recipe that you're choosing. You just have to find one that's like definitely like a gummy.
Yeah, you can actually buy the sweets from the supermarket, the candies, right? And you can add them to a saucepan, melt them down, and add cannabis oil to that. You know, you infused oil. You can do it like that too, right? I heard
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
did
and
like that.
I've done a little bit. Who did you say did that?
I can't remember who. Billy,
I
did you
think
mention it,
Twisted.
melting it down? Maybe Twisted.
I
I
think
don't know.
Twisted has done that before. He's done that a lot actually, where he can like you can melt down some candies and just add your own
Yeah,
infusion into it. I would
and
suggest
then
if you're
put them in a
getting into
mold.
candies that you add some kind of like lecithin with
Mm,
it, especially because otherwise the oil or the fats tends to separate. Or if you have concentrates, you can do that too. But if you're not
yeah.
really doing that, then
The
use like some
sunflower
kind of
lecithin because it helps
yeah.
emulsify it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And if you don't, because I've not used it before, and then you see like a layer on the top, and you're like, oh,
Oh,
not only does it not look very nice, but you're like, all the oil is obviously on the bottom of this
yeah.
particular top or whatever this
They don't have to
gummy.
chew them. You can just lick them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it definitely helps to emulsify it and just incorporate it evenly into your mix.
Nice.
And I actually did a whole episode on lecithin not that long ago.
Cool.
I think it's September. Yeah. If someone wants to do a deep dive into that.
Yeah, it's an important feature I've seen in those type of edibles and oils as well. When you're making FICO and shit like that, and you want to use them as medicine,
Hmm.
then you can add lecithin to that as well. Because apparently it emulsifies it, but it's also better for bioavailability as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it can help increase the bioavailability. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's more maths that you have to fucking add to the whole equation, which I forgot about there. You know, depending on how you consume it and how many milligrams are in it, depends on how much is actually going to be absorbed in a particular way.
Yeah,
Madness.
I
So
suppose,
much
but
to
again, I
it.
feel like you're splitting hair, like somebody's just splitting hairs at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just try and make it simple.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
keep
keep it
it.
simple.
That's right. That's what we recommend for everything, really. Just try and keep it as simple as possible. And then if it starts going well and you can consistently pull off I don't know, some good edibles, then you start experimenting and going into more detail and things like that. But keep it simple first.
Yeah, because it's kind of like when you're growing too, you kind of, when you're new at it, you're just like, it's really overwhelming. There's all this information
Hmm.
and you can make things super complicated, but then you kind of, once you start doing it, you get into a groove and a routine, and then you're a lot more comfortable. And then that's when it's a good time to start, you can start experimenting once you've got a routine going and you feel more comfortable with what you're doing.
Hmm. I'm gonna give it a shot again. I am. Well,
Yeah,
meaning I'm
do
gonna ask the missus to.
it.
I just get in the way when I'm in the kitchen, man. I think I get on her nerves more than anything when I'm downstairs. She's like, I'm trying to do shit. You need something?
All right.
Can I make some gummies? So I'll make the fucking gummies. Get out of my kitchen. No, that's just how she likes it. That's what I tell myself, and that's why I don't go in there very often. 'Cause
Right.
it's her space. But that would be cool. I'm gonna ask her to do it again. Man, I have some chocolate concrete. You know chocolate concrete, Margaret?
No. What is that?
It's this thing
I mean,
we
chocolate
used to have.
anything.
It's like really hard. Oh man, it's really hard. Billy, how would you describe chocolate concrete, man?
It's like concrete but chocolate.
Thank you for that illuminating
okay.
description.
And you have it with custard.
Oh, that sounds
Having it with
good.
something warm is
Ah.
really good because it takes long to melt, you see. So you get it.
Huh. Yeah, I
Chocolate
haven't heard of
concrete.
that.
Yeah, you have to try that, Margaret. We've done this Macky tastes many times before, and we've experimented
Yeah.
with shit that I haven't liked and stuff I haven't tried before. This is your turn, Margaret. This is your turn.
I
Get
guess
that-
so. Where would
go
I
make-
where would I find chocolate concrete?
Oh, you're gonna have to make it. You can't even find
Oh,
it here
I
in the
see.
UK. It's like
Okay.
back in the 80s. Back in the day. No, it was more like the 90s. I'm not that old. But you would get chocolate concrete at school, like concrete and custard. And it was just good shit.
Huh.
It was just good shit, man. Everybody knows it in the UK. Everybody knows what chocolate concrete is, but you can barely find it like in supermarkets and shit. Because,
Get your missus to send her the recipe.
yeah, actually, I'll do that.
That'd be the best thing,
remind me.
really.
I don't know how she does it. I think she just does it from memory or something. I don't know. I'll ask her. She's read many things on your website there, Margaret, and gotten recipes. So
Oh, cool.
I'm sure she can change one back to you, Be like, here's a little bit of payback for all the hard work you've done. Thank you, Margaret.
Custard would be a good way to have an edible.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
infuse
that's
custard,
a good
yeah.
point, actually, isn't it? Because you've recommended this before, Margaret. Like, instead of infusing things, infuse sauces, so you can use that on many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would you do that? Same thing, just using oils or something.
Same thing, really. Yeah. Because a lot of those sauces are oil based.
It's milk and creamy based, is it? So lots of fats there to use for your custard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
and
Christmas
THC
coming up,
helps that.
so you have custard on everything.
Right.
So I think an infused custard would be good to go round. Just obviously tell the family that it's an infused custard. Don't want Granny
Yes.
Pop having an extra scoop of custard on her cake or a spotted
Yeah,
dick.
you don't want to do that. That
No.
would be bad.
I don't know. Maybe that's what
I
she
don't know,
wants.
but maybe that's what she wants. Yeah.
Well,
But
that's
don't be afraid
true.
to
I mean,
ask,
you can ask her. You might get a surprise answer.
Well, they are the
I'd
new
love
grain
to.
group, aren't they? Oh,
Yeah,
I
man.
had this since the 60s. Since I last had a spotted dick. Ah.
Oh no, no, Billy.
What?
Gosh, it's like we spoke about that with Spartan as well. And remember Spotted Dick? And he's like, is it true? Yeah, I don't know if I told you all about this, but because I don't know if you know about this, Margaret, but we did a interview with Ross Patterson, Spartan Grown. And he just randomly asked him, he's like, is it true that you guys have a dessert over there called Spotted Dick? And it's like, yeah, bro, we do. And then a couple of days later, I was in the supermarket and I was like, I want some Spotted Dick now you mentioned it. So I went and got some, took a picture, and I'm like, yo, Spartan, I'm just sending you a random dick pic, bro. Took a picture of this box of Spotted Dick. He was pissing himself. Funny. Yes. You could just add custard to it if the custard is infused. Nice and easy.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it as complicated as you want.
Yeah, man. Lots of good information there. So get on it, everybody. And of course, we want to see your edibles as well. If you do make some, of course, not yet. You're waiting for your harvest to finish. When your harvest has finished and you've got some surplus cannabis, 7 grams. If you're doing it the way we were suggested with the 4 plants in the 4x4, and you get to a nice harvest, which you will no doubt get to at some point, and it'll be nice, dry, and ready. You'll have some spare cannabis. 7 grams will be nothing. It's like right now,
Exactly.
if you're
Especially
buying
using
cannabis,
trim and stuff, right? Like a lot of
Yeah,
people, a
yeah.
lot of growers
Mhm.
are using trim and sugar leaf, so it's like the stuff you'd probably be throwing away anyway.
yeah, I'd like to use bud anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better that way for me. But
Yeah.
if you don't harvest very much, because 7 grams is nothing. Like I was saying, you get some nice bud, man. For 7 grams, it's easy. Make some decent edibles with that. But it's very easy to do, man. Very easy to do. I want some of that chocolate concrete now. Made with fresh fucking.
Is it like is it like a really sweet chocolate?
No, it's just right, man. Just right.
Huh.
It's like it's kind of like a brownie, but less juicy.
It's more sponge cake than brownie.
Yeah, but it's not sponge. I don't know. It's like brownie, but without loads of chocolate sauce on the inside. It's like just you're gonna have to just make it to understand what I mean, Margaret.
I
You
think
will
so.
enjoy it. You will enjoy it. It's good, man. I love chocolate concrete. Anyway, yeah, lots of good information there about edibles. Is there anything about we're missing out? Do you think we can add anything else there? I think that's all the information people need.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of got to get started and try it out, and then if you have questions along the way, then I'm happy to answer them.
That's right. Just head over to bitemepodcast.com. And of course, head over to your favorite podcast provider as well and download some episodes. And I'm sure there's episodes for specific questions that you have to answer and stuff. You've how many episodes you're on now, Margaret? It's loads, right?
Oh yeah, I'm around 270, I think, give or take.
Damn, yeah. So recipes for everything.
Yeah.
Nice. Except for chocolate concrete. You gotta get on that shit.
I know, I'm not touched the concrete yet.
But yeah, that's all. Anything to add here, Billy? You got anything to add to this?
I would say so. Do you know if you're say taking them for the first few times or testing your product out? Say if you work Monday to Friday, I would make sure you clear your schedule on the Saturday, get everything you need in it, and take one on a Saturday afternoon. So if it is really strong, then the Sunday you haven't got to go to work. You're free to still be stoned, if you know what I mean. So when you take it, just then is because then you're awake. You haven't taken it when you're asleep, so you know how strong it really is.
Yeah,
that's I mean, rather than taking it just before you go to sleep, because then you don't know how. Because then you might take one in the day and think, "Fuck, that's too strong to take in the day." So just clear your schedule, plan yourself. Saturday afternoon, you and your partner or friends or whatever, we'll all have a chocolate each and see how strong it is.
That's a good point as well.
Yeah.
And then you know. Rather than testing it on like a work night, I'm going to need to sleep tonight and then wake up like Margie. It's so fucked you can't fucking go to work. Margaret, sorry, yeah.
Right. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And I
Saturday
like that
afternoon.
too, because Saturday afternoon you can queue up some good comedy or something, a stand up or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what I mean. It's a good time to take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what's that? The Dark Side of the Wizard of Oz. Cue that up. Yeah. You get Dark Side of the Moon and cue it up with the Wizard of Oz and the soundtrack plays together with the movie. You done that before?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Dubstep to the Moon.
I haven't tried that one. But yeah, get high in edibles and listen to that. That would be shit. But yeah, something that we did mention, we just some precautions when you do take these things, because if they are too strong and shit, just take one and then wait for an hour and see if something happens. Don't give it 15 minutes, nothing's happening, take another one. You want to really just wait and see how strong these things are and take it very carefully, because too much can be uncomfortable, like Margaret said. So try and take it
We've all
easy.
seen those memes that are like, these edibles ain't shit. And then usually the outcome in those memes are the fact that those edibles were shit, like as in they were the shit. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And we all know that video where you can find on YouTube where the undercover cop, or the cop, off-duty cop, got some edibles and he went home and taken them with his wife, and then he's had to phone 911 and being like, time is moving really slowly. I think we're dead. They were on edibles, all right? bear that in mind when
Yes.
you do this, everybody. Be very
It can be
cautious.
hallucinogenic in high enough
Mhm.
doses. But in the right dose, they're fantastic. So
right.
don't
That's
don't be afraid. Just be smart about it.
Yeah.
That is one of the best statements ever, isn't it? Time is moving slowly.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
I'm dead.
I think we're dead.
Fucking brilliant.
No, not just I think I'm dead, but I think we are dead. Like collectively, him
Yeah,
and his wife. He also
collectively,
knew
yeah,
that his
yeah.
wife was dead. They're looking at each other, talking to each other, like I think we're dead. Like the scene in Beetlejuice, you know, the original
Yeah,
Beetlejuice.
yeah, totally. When they're in the waiting office with a dude with a small head.
Jesus, you gotta be fucked up for that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, so be careful, everybody. Be careful. Treat these things with respect, because otherwise they will fuck you up. When you get the dosage right, and write some things down in the journal you got from Amazon from Margaret, Bite Me journal. You take some notes. Better safe than sorry, and then you can come back next time, know how much you did, and you can get the dosage more or less depending on how it went last time. So do it.
Exactly.
It's good fun,
Yes.
man. But I think that's all we can say about edibles. I mean, there's always more, but you can find all of that over on Margaret's website and her podcast. You want to quickly tell everybody where they can find that, Margaret?
Yeah, Bite Me, the show about edibles. The podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. You can even listen to it on YouTube, although there is no visual. It's still just audio. And then you can check out bitemepodcast.com for
Nice.
fun things like recipes. You can listen to episodes over there. There's show notes. There's the free online calculator if you want to, which you should be using to figure out the potency. Whether you use mine or somebody else's, I don't really care. Just figure out how strong your edibles are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're into this kind of thing, you can scroll to the bottom and I actually have like the instructions on figuring out the math yourself
Nice.
if you're interested. Yeah.
That's right. And of course, be patient with it, everybody. You might not get it right the first time, but a little bit of practice and you'll get it down. And you'll have some nice edibles that you can just munch on throughout the week. Lovely jubbly. We got a list of mail question. Let's get to that one. We from Big Bad Wolfie. We have I have a lot of pre-bottled peri peri sauce, which I absolutely love and probably put it on half of my meals a week. I would love to know what's the best way to add some THC and CBD to these bottles, or how would I mix it with something else on a plate? How would I best go about doing this rather than making my sauce from scratch, which isn't as good? Yeah, so say you got a favorite sauce, like let's say for example, Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sounds like your favorite.
Oh yeah, that the honey version. Damn, I could have that
I
on
mean,
my
honestly,
cornflakes.
with this, because I thought I had done an episode on peri peri sauce because I really do like it too,
Sweet.
but I had not. Actually, it was chimichurri sauce. I was close, but it's quite different. But I mean, peri peri sauce is an oil-based sauce, so you could probably just stir a little bit of your oil into it, like if you had a.
So what would you try and find out what oil the peri peri sauce is based in?
You could. I mean, if it's a commercial sauce, it's probably like a vegetable oil of some kind, but
Right.
Can you just make an olive oil and then add that to the sauce?
You could do olive oil, you could do MCT, you could do avocado oil. I've infused avocado oil too. Yeah. Someone's also saying you could do a little RSO, mix it in with that too. You could do that. I mean, you just stir something in.
Yeah, man. So
And he's asking if you put it in the bottle or in the whole thing. I would probably just mix it on the plate because you never know when you might be sharing the peri peri sauce with somebody who doesn't want to get high. But
right.
it just depends on your circumstances. You could add it into the whole bottle, but you just need to know like how much you're adding so you know how strong it is too.
Yeah, man. Add it to the whole bottle. Oh, do it. Do it.
I would,
Add it to the whole
I would
bottle.
say it's a bit futile because you can't get the dosage of the sauce, the amount of sauce you're going to have. If you know what I mean, once it's mixed, you'd have to then have an exact amount of
that's true.
sauce.
You'd have to be like, oh, I'm gonna have like a tablespoon of peri peri sauce. It sounds like more generous
and you're not
than
going to be able to do that, are you? So you're
Yeah.
better
You know
off
what I'm
just
saying?
Yeah.
You got a sweet
It'd
fucking
be the
Baby
whole
Ray's
cookie
bucket.
moment again. Yeah,
just
there you
dipping
go. It's like
24 fucking chicken nuggets before you know. You've eaten
Before
half the
you're
bottle.
flying high, you go, woo, yeah.
If you do it per serving, then you're just customizing your dose. So you're doing it custom.
Mm.
I'd
Sounds
say
fancy.
save it for the custard for pudding or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Damn.
just the brownie.
See, there's so many different ways. I remember back in the day, I was talking about it was just all about
just
space
eat
cakes.
it.
Everybody just had space cakes,
Sprinkle your hash into
Oh.
some hot milk.
I've heard people talking about firecrackers. I've heard about that in like the last year, people talking about how they used to make firecrackers.
Oh, what you mean by firecrackers? You mean like
They're like
s'mores or something?
they're like old school, like shitty edibles that people used to make, I think. And they're basically like you would put peanut butter on a cracker and you would sprinkle some weed on it and then you microwave them. And I think that would sort of quickly decarb the weed.
Sounds
Yeah.
filth.
You never heard of that?
Sounds terrible.
Oh, it does sound terrible. These are tales I've heard from people who are like, when I first started doing edibles, it's never, later in their cannabis journey. It's always at the beginning.
Sounds worse than Macky's edibles full of weed.
Yeah.
Like.
That was a long time ago, man. Don't
It's on
hold me
par.
against. Don't
It's on
hold that
par with
against
that.
me. Yeah, this is like 20 years ago. You can't blame me for my ignorance 20 years ago.
Oh, we've all done it. We've all done questionable things in our
Yeah, but I would hold it
cannabis
against me
journeys.
as well.
Yeah.
They were bad, bro. They were so bad. But still, we ate them. We had a good time. But goddamn, I would not eat those again. Not now, knowing how
Yeah,
good it is to
exactly.
make good edibles, like actual fucking edibles, not just this shit that's been thrown together by a noob.
Peanut butter on a
Gosh.
cracker. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some little butter on a cracker. I eat that
Some
shit.
salty cracker.
I mean, I'm
Yes.
not against that per se, but I'm more like a fresh infused butter on homemade bread kind of person now.
Little bowl of melted butter, you dipping the bread in. Oh,
Yeah.
look at us getting heart disease as we speak. But it's worth it.
What do you mean getting?
I saw this comedian called Billy Connolly. I saw a meme with him on it, and he was talking about wholemeal bread. And he's like, you're eating wholemeal bread, I'm eating normal bread, but you say it's gonna make you live longer. It's like, how much longer? 2 weeks? 2 weeks? A month?
2 weeks.
6 weeks? How long is it really gonna make a difference? And it's gonna be at the end of your life. It's not gonna be at a point where, you're 18 years old going out and partying all the time, let's say. You know what I mean? So does it really matter? Stop eating wholemeal bread, everybody. Eat the white bread. All right? Fuck it.
Yeah, even I make them white bread.
But the problem with the white bread is apparently they bleach the flour or some shit, so it's not good to eat.
Yeah, I spend the extra money and I buy organic unbleached bread or
Nice.
white
Bake
bread.
your own or buy good stuff.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it's sourdough, so I figure it's
Oh gosh! Oh man, I could just sit there all the next time Margaret would make some of that bread. I'm gonna be there, man. I'm gonna be there. I'll sit right at the kitchen table. We'll get a little sauce, just dipping that
Yeah.
fresh bread.
She'll
No.
find me and Mackie squatting in her shed one day, like just popping in when she's got made the fresh bread and cookies. They'd be gone. Yeah. But someone's just taken half my cookies and half my bread.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we didn't.
trail of crumbs. Yeah, no, did
It wasn't me.
Was it? Yeah.
Damn.
yeah. The trail of crumbs leads
Yeah.
to you.
Damn.
I just want to say one more thing because Big Bad Wolfie had a follow-up question. Like, if you make it separate, how do you store it? If you would store your oil the same way you would store any oil.
We're
In the
right
fridge.
storing it. Stop being a pussy.
Yeah.
Eat it. Eat it.
Yeah.
I'm only joking. Of course, don't do that.
Yeah, you would just store it in a separate jar and then just take out what you needed and added it to your sauce.
It sounds good, man. No, now I want to go do it. No, I'll get it done this week. I'll make something. I'll get that chocolate concrete recipe to you, Margaret. That's right. And
Yeah.
I'll watch the wife as she makes it. I'll take notes.
Yeah. It's for
Nice.
research.
Well, yeah, that's everything. I think. The edibles. I don't think we have any more questions there. I think we're all good. So I think we're ready for the outro. Are we good to go?
All right.
Anything
Yeah.
else to add? We good?
Yeah,
I'm
man.
hungry now,
Let's go.
so
Yeah, you certainly want some bread,
though.
Yeah, just the music's playing, bro. It's fading. There we go, freshly faded. Nice.
We can't hear the music though.
Yeah, I know. But you should know. 10 seconds of silence or something. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. But anyway, it's done now. It's done. You've ruined it now, Billy. You ruined that professional fade. But yes.
Oh, no.
Look, Bite Me a Podcast in the chat there. Everybody follow. Go subscribe. Go subscribe. It's easy to do now while it's on the screen. Look, click it. Get it done.
Oh yeah, I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Actually,
How many-
somebody had subscribed to my channel the other day, and then they're like, "How do you make infused honey?" Something, and then they mentioned high on homegrown, and there was a lot going on, and I forgot to reply. So if you're listening right now, go to my website. It's there.
Nice. It's
'Cause you can
difficult
infuse
to keep
honey
up
in syrup.
comments.
What's that?
It's difficult to keep up with the comments sometimes.
Well, it's not really. I don't have that many.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it was just from yesterday, but
Yeah, man. The daily recommendation for carbohydrates is not 1 gram. Yeah, it's going to be different for different people, though, bro. That's the thing with this whole diet thing. Like, some people can't eat bread at all. Some people can eat loads of it. Some people only eat meat. Some people eat no meat at all. You know, everybody's different, man. Everybody's different. But yeah, it's a good show. Talking about edibles there. It inspires me to go out and make some edibles. And I was thinking as well, you know, imagine adding a little bit of shrooms to that as well. Imagine, god damn, how fucked you'd be. Just add some shrooms to the mix too. Some psilocybin. Mashed. But I do like a little bit of the mushrooms. I want to make some gummies. I definitely want to give some gummies a go because I'd like just to have those low doses. You know, just low dose gummy. Then you can eat one, see how it is, and then eat another one. It's probably going to be the same. So you make fucking 50 of those. You know, you got to know what the dosage is. And you can eat 50 in a day if you try it, if the dosage was shit. You know? But you could also space 50 out. I think it would be a good idea. Now I'm going to have to go use loads of weed to make all sorts of fucking edibles. Thanks for the inspiration there, Margaret. It's cool.
you're welcome.
That's everything. Let us know, everybody, if you make some edibles as well. Then come and post some pictures over on the Discord server and over on Percy's as well. Do you have a Discord server, Margaret?
No.
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 Maybe you should get one. But yeah, then that's another thing to log after, isn't it? Gosh.
I know.
Yeah. Just post it on social media and hashtag Bite Me Podcast or something. That would be cool. And then Margaret will be able to see those. So make some edibles. It'll be
That's
fun.
great. I'm on Instagram a lot.
Yeah, it's my least favorite. Gosh. I hate them all now, really. I hate them all. I'm getting too old for this social media thing.
I kind of do too, but Instagram still where like I know people and stuff. So
Yeah, I use it
that's
for
why.
messaging, but it's not like I scroll through the feed. If I ever go to the feed page, I just go straight to the reels and start flicking through reels. I don't read the Instagram feed and shit like that. I've been reading too much on X.com, and goddamn, that place is open.
Yeah,
The free speech definitely exists on X.
Cesspool is what the word you're looking for.
Yeah, maybe, but it's that's just the way it has to be, man. I understand the concept of it, and it's just it's very political over there right now. That's
Yeah.
you know, like I say, I just can't wait for this shit to be over. You know, a couple of days left. And, yeah, and good luck to everybody. And of course, to those out in the USA, if you haven't voted yet, make sure you go out and vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just make sure you do vote, participate in the system. It'll be good for you. How about Percy's still free for stoners? Indeed, Phil. You can still join Percy's Grow Room for absolutely free. Lots of competitions going on over there all the time. Go and vote on the Halloween costume Fred thing. You know the one. Turbo put it up. You'll see it. Yeah, I think that's everything, right? I don't think there's anything to add here other than me just chatting some more shit. You know how I roll. I can talk for hours about loads of random things. Just tell me where to get started. And we've already kept you for long enough. So join us on Tuesday, with a CH Tuesday. If you're interested in joining us for the election stream, then drop me a message on Discord or on Percy's and I'll send you the link to the Zoom room specifically. I don't think we're going to do this live. I think we'll just do it in the background. It'll be a good session. I'm going to be there watching most of it anyway. Billy, you are, right? You're going to be watching the election stuff?
Yep, I'm going to be joining.
Yeah, sweet. So
So
if you're interested, come and join us. Probably start at usual show time. It's going to be cool. Have a good weekend. Stay high, stay safe, and Yeah, be good to each other. All right. It's gonna be a tough week. Stay strong. See you then. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.